Yeah, that was a very good fight last night. I knew it was gonna live up to the hype. Start off slow, it is what it is. That happens, but it was a good fight. I know a lot of people not gonna like me saying and Crawford the face of boxing, real face of boxing. That's just how I feel. Everybody else they can, call who they want to call anything, But just how I see it right now. Yeah, that's just how I see it. At this point right now, there's nothing else that he has to prove. I mean, I'm hearing people throw out suggestions, but he was never supposed to even fight Canelo, from what I've heard. So yeah, he's done enough. He definitely can do more if he wants to, but up until this point, he's done more than the average person. I know a lot of people kind of like, I don't want to call him the face of boxing. I mean, I'm gonna do it. I'm going to call him the face of boxing. I will do it. I've seen a lot of things this week that definitely let me know he's the face of boxing. Really, over the last 12 months, every fighter who needs some kind of publicity uses his name to get some kind of clicks. They stopped using Canelo's name for clicks a long time ago. They've been using Terence Crawford's name for clicks for a while now. So that's one reason he's the face of boxing, in my eyes. That's just outside the ring. Inside the ring, you already know why. But last night confirmed it though. It definitely showed how good he is. Sometimes you wish people would see that earlier in somebody's career, so when they're watching the guy live, they know how good he is. But to find out how good he is at the end of his career, I mean, that usually doesn't happen to me, but yeah, that definitely happened. That definitely happened. This is a talent you definitely don't want to find out about in their late 30s. Yeah, people have the privilege of that happening right now. That was a very good fight last night, though. I'm glad Canelo accepted the challenge. That was a lot of money, regardless. So he was gonna accept that because the money was just outrageous. But that was a very good fight, though. Fight card was decent. The undercard was better than a lot of people thought it would be. I heard a lot of people complain about the undercard, but I told people it would be a lot better than they thought, and I didn't hear too many complaints about the undercard. Stoppages was some complaints, but yeah, the fight was good last night. Yeah, shout out to George Smith and John. What's going on? Yeah, he took that power, man, easy last night. He took that power a lot more easy than I thought. He did get caught with the right hand a couple times where, I thought things would go bad, but yeah, Crawford, he fought a good fight, man. He was definitely impressive. The fight started late, but by the time it did start, it was good. First round was kind of slow. Second round started to speed up a little bit more, but towards the third or fourth round, yeah, they started to pick up the pace a little bit. I don't know what the crowd was doing. I don't know if they got any boos early. I know during the Majamal fight he got some boos, so Could be different. Yeah, but as far as this whole fight and just everything around it, Terence Crawford, man, made a statement last night. He really did. He made a statement last night. Like a lot of times, Roy Jones was doing this back in the day, as far as jumping weight classes, and other guys have done it as well in the past, but that was one of the more recent guys that was doing it at a crazy level. And now that boxers get to see Terence Crawford do it now they realize, oh, it's a whole nother level I got to go to be considered, you know, that type of fighter or boxer. Because last night, you really haven't seen Canelo outboxed that way before. No matter who he's been in the ring with. That's what kind of impressed people the most. It's a lot of people shocked by the performance last night. They don't understand how Crawford was able to take Canelo's power, outbox him, and just everything, take everything away. Yeah, Canelo started to jab some, but after a while, he was trying to score, and nothing worked. I think he landed a right hand a couple times in the middle rounds, but towards the end, wasn't landing that much. Trying to go straight back to the body. Yeah, that was a very good fight, man. Very good fight. And a lot of people don't want to say that if Crawford's a face of boxing or not, which I understand. I mean, it's an opinion. But I will say this, like I said before, everybody's name from day one, since he's got that victory over Earl Spence, everybody's name has been mentioned with Terence Crawford, one way or another. It just has been. Even at 154, people wouldn't have thought about the Madramal guy if he wouldn't have fought Terence Crawford. Let's just be honest. And that guy was fighting on Riyadh cards. Yeah, he was fighting on those cards and people didn't know who he was. So yeah, he's definitely been what you would consider a face because people would say, nah, he's not selling like that. And he doesn't have that many fans. From what I've seen, people know him very well because you can get a boxer right now who's unknown and mention something with him and Terence Crawford, and it's going to be a big deal. Only guys who are like the face of boxing type can make things like that happen. A lot of boxers can't make that happen, even if they're popular or have a big name. You got to be somebody who really in the ring fighting. That's why people looked at this fight different going in. Yeah, that's why a lot of people looked at it different. I think they knew after the weigh-in. After the weigh-in, everybody realized then that Canelo was possibly in trouble. I heard everybody quiet. There wasn't that much talking going on before the fight. Yeah, after the weigh-in, it got quiet. Then you have people making a million predictions. So they knew what was going to happen. When you put somebody in the ring with a real boxer, this is what happens. This is why a lot of times people want to say, oh, this guy runs. Because they don't want to get in the ring with some of these guys. They know they get in the ring with these guys, it's over. That's where the running comes from. They don't want to get in the ring with some of these guys. And I told people last week, Terence Crawford got real defense. He'll get caught with a couple of shots, but he has some real defense. That's the thing that nobody was paying attention to. People saying, "Oh, I seen him get cracked on the chin before." Sure, we seen Canelo get cracked on the chin yesterday. I don't even know what that means. I still don't know what that means. A dude's like, "Yeah, I seen Crawford get cracked on the chin." In boxing, I mean, everybody gets hit on the chin. I don't know anybody in UFC or boxing who hasn't got hit on the chin on a regular. So yeah, I ain't understand that one. But it was a very good performance. But this guy definitely has to be considered one of the big names in boxing right now, especially as one of the faces. Why not? I mean, why not? Everybody he calls out, he fights. He's not calling anybody out, and he doesn't not get in the ring with them. Everybody the man discusses with a fight with, he gets in the ring with them or attempts to get in the ring with them. Usually, the other person ends up messing it up. Tim Tszyu was supposed to fight him, ended up losing. Fedor was supposed to fight him, and they went another direction. Uh, so yeah, this was after before he fought the Madrimov guy that people complained about. So yeah, he's always in the mix, all the time. And this is different weight classes, and that was just getting to 154. You got to think about it. It's a lot of guys who's been at 154 longer than Crawford, and they still haven't been mentioned with some of the names he's been mentioned with, because he's the face. He's the face of boxing. That's why. It's a lot of names at 54 that people haven't mentioned Virgil Ortiz with. They haven't mentioned other guys with. Because when Crawford comes there, they know, oh, Crawford will fight anybody. Oh, he can fight anybody. They know these other guys, nah, he's not Crawford. They won't say it out loud, but they know. They already know. They already know. They talking about Benavidez. So Canelo can't fight Benavidez, but Crawford can. They know. They know. They say Canelo ain't good enough to fight Benavidez, but Crawford is. You gotta think about that. They've been saying that for months already. Oh, why Crawford don't fight Benavidez then? Hold on, Crawford's supposed to be smaller than Canelo. Why would he fight Benavidez? Because they know his skills was up there to that level where he possibly could fight him. That's why they know. It's going to be a lot of guys when Crawford retires. It's going to be a lot of names that's going to be mentioned with his and young guys in boxing that a lot of people are going to find out about because of him. That's already been happening a while. Virgil Ortiz, Ennis. They wasn't mentioning Virgil Ortiz and Ennis with Spence. Uh, so those are just two, and that's been going on for what, 5 years? Come on now. Matter of fact, I go a step further. What other star in boxing has had two young guys under him that's been promoted more than Ortiz or Ennis? Compared to him though, like Canelo doesn't have two guys. They don't compare Morrell and Benavidez to Canelo every 5 minutes. That doesn't go on. That's face of boxing stuff. If they were sitting there comparing Morrell and Benavidez to Canelo every day, I would be like, oh, okay. So he's what people are talking about as far as face of boxing, two different things. We talking about boxing, not the face of what Jake Paul doing. We talking about boxing, like in the ring. So yeah, that's how I'm looking at it. So the only ones you could think of is Ortiz and Ennis. You had all those other guys at 47 already, but they didn't mention those guys. With those guys, not Keith Thurman, not Pacquiao, not Spence. They mentioned him with Crawford, and Crawford was supposed to be the weak link. They've been playing games since the beginning. But yeah, so if anybody was wondering like why would he say that he's the face of boxing? He's not really doing no numbers like that. Oh, he's doing numbers. Trust me. He's doing numbers. Anytime you can have a boxer linked to you and a sparring session can go viral just because he can do the same kind of style as you, oh yeah, you definitely consider the face of boxing. Man, we got guys out here right now. They got styles like Tank Davis, look like him and everything. They're not going viral, and everybody's just pulling up to see them fight right now. You got the Camille Moten guy, but he's with Floyd though. That's 99% of the reason. If he was somebody else, if he was with Usyk or Usyk got a fighter right now, ain't nobody checking for him like that. So that's the main reason. It ain't guys that like, oh man, this guy fight like Tank, so let me go check him out. Nah, they ain't just finding guys like that. Unless you link to a Floyd or something like that. Yeah, you can't really compare that to no other boxer at this time right now. He's the only one. And I thought this out pretty well for a while now. I thought this out. He's the only one in boxing. I be telling people sometimes, hey, this boxer box like Ryan or this guy boxes like that guy. But what does everybody say? Nah, Moose Ennis fight like Crawford. See what I'm saying? It's not no other boxer in boxing right now that people are trying to figure out. Oh, does this boxer box like this guy? Let's find somebody who boxes like Tank. They don't care. They don't care. They don't like the style. They're not gonna say it out loud, but they more in tune with what Tank does probably outside the ring. They like the knockouts, but they ain't looking for no style like that. They're not looking for a style like that. I'm telling you. You can find Carlos Adames that do that. They ain't looking for a style like that. When it comes to Terence Crawford, though, they looking for that style. They checking for it. They want the next style. They arguing about if the next style is better than the first style. Man, this style better than Crawford's. Can go switch both sides and everything. But we got Terence Crawford already. Oh man, I want another one just like Crawford though. You want two G.I. Joes? Little man? You know what I'm saying? You gotta think about it. Like, they getting overboard with it. They're not thinking about it, but they doing it. They like, man, I don't like Crawford's. I don't think he's good, but I think that same style is good on somebody else. That's like somebody saying, I don't like your Jordans, but I got them same Jordans and they look good on me. We got the same shoes on though. Yeah, but mine, you know. So yeah, you're not really a face of boxing until you have fans and boxers that want to come after you and do the same things you're doing while you're boxing. Now everybody want to switch from left to right. Everybody. Dudes ain't even thinking about the Philly shell no more. They like, man, I'm trying to switch from left to right. I don't care. I go to high guard. And that's facts. They trying to box like Terence Crawford now. They ain't trying to box like Floyd no more. Yeah, that's what's going on. That's when you a face of boxing. Gotta think about it. When you have boxers that are currently in the boxing game, like in the NBA, you have people that start playing like Kobe while he was playing. Or you have people that was playing like LeBron while he was playing. You have people that was trying to play like Jordan while he was playing. That's when you're a face of something. Not when you can sell a couple of tickets because everybody else can't. Yeah, when you can really go out there and have other guys in the boxing game that box like you that are trying to do the same style you're doing, they already saying in their mind, "Oh, this is the best style right here to copy." Then they'll say out of their mind, "Nah, he ain't the best." But what style you got? The same style he got. Same type of style though. So yeah, he been the face of boxing for a while, bro. I'm telling you, that's the way I describe it. Cause I don't really describe it because it's not really something you use. Really, it's always been just who the best. Canelo the best. Crawford beat him. Okay, he the best. Oh, Bivol beat Canelo. Then he what beat Bitterville. Okay, he the best in his area, whatever. Because really, jumping weight classes like this, as you can see from everybody's reaction over the last few months, it's not something that happens all the time. It's not something that happens all the time. They gave Pacquiao a pass, but it's not something that happens all the time. But yeah, they definitely let Pacquiao do it though. Don't let them lie to you. They let him and a couple of other guys do it. They don't even know it. They let Adrian Bronner do it. Yeah, they don't even know they did it. But that was a good performance by Terence Crawford, man. I think a lot of people was able to see his whole skill set against a top tier, possible one of the best guys in the game right now, if not the best. Especially at what he's doing. Never been embarrassed like that. Ever. All those fights Canelo got, he ain't never been embarrassed like that. That's why I said Triple G's skill set lined up to Terence Crawford is different level. That's why I say over the last 10, 15 years, it's a different level that Terence Crawford can go to. And he really wasn't even pressing like that against Canelo. He wasn't gassed like that. He really could have stopped Canelo, to be honest with you, last night. He almost got stopped. He could have stopped Canelo last night. If Terence Crawford was fighting like 3 times this year, active, man, he probably would have stopped him last night. But he was in shape though. He was ready to go. I feel like even last night he could have stopped him. To be honest with you, I ain't even gonna say that. I feel like if he would have just, because it got to the point where he started letting his hands go and everything was connecting. Canelo's head was just bouncing all over the place. And I'm like, man, I ain't know Crawford was just gonna connect like this. But yeah, he broke Canelo down so bad in those late rounds that it started to get ugly real quick, especially in the ninth round. I mean, we've never seen this guy beat up like that before. And we got to think about all the big guys he's been in the ring with. That's why I said Terence Crawford can beat up a lot of people. It's been a lot of guys scared to jump in the ring with him. If he beating up Canelo like that, just imagine what he'll do to these other guys. We're trying to save careers out here. I know everybody like, let this guy jump in the ring with Terence Crawford. I told people last week, I said the dude is ending careers. And people like, nah, he ain't ending careers. Bro, we don't even know if Canelo gonna fight again. That's another career he possibly gonna end. We don't even know if Canelo gonna fight again. He done took the man confidence away. Canelo looked like he got jumped on by 10 guys. He looked like he got jumped by a whole neighborhood. I'm telling you, every time Crawford get in the ring with somebody, they thinking about hanging it up. They don't know what's next. Everybody talking about how the guy done. Hey, do not fight Terence Crawford. If you fight Terence Crawford, they gonna say you done. You could be Canelo, and none of you guys are Canelo. So, I mean, be careful trying to set up a fight with him and prove something. It might be your last fight. Like I told people last week, dude out here ending careers. He could be the face or whatever, but you jump in the ring with him, that's gonna be your last fight. We don't even know if Canelo can get back in the ring again. Man, look what y'all done. Should have had that fight at 175 or something. Oh yeah, no rehydration clause. Oh yeah. Bomac has said no to that. Yeah, I got a video coming out about that later on. What's going on, Elder Pal? Yeah, they've been saying no to Benavidez. You know, people just bringing it up right now. Uh, but it's like I said earlier. If Benavidez was a real fight that people was interested in, they would have said the bigger Canelo, the guy who they said was bigger. They said Canelo was bigger than Crawford. So if he can't fight Benavidez, why would you want Crawford to fight Benavidez? I'm just confused on that. That's the only reason the Benavidez fight I'm confused on, because they didn't want Canelo to go in there. I mean, he's already moved up. It's a wrap. I mean, they want Benavidez to fight bigger guys, and then when he starts doing it, everybody's like, you know what? Stop doing what you're doing. Stop. Just come back to 168. Now, what if he come back to 168 and say, I ain't never going back to 175 or 200? I ain't fighting Bivol, Bitter Biv. Y'all asked me to go to 175. If I come back to 168, I'm not going back to 175. You see what I'm saying? It's like they trying to have him on a leash. Like, hey, go here, go here. If they would have just let him stay at 168, he'll still be there. Fans are just kicking the can down the road, man. Yeah, they don't understand that. Hey, y'all asked Benavidez to leave, right? I hope the fans don't mind me reminding everybody, but they got upset last year when I said, whoa, what are y'all doing? Y'all making Benavidez get at 168? Yeah, he needs to fight people his own size. I said, what? He making the weight. I said, he's making 168. Why would he leave? Oh, he needs to fight guys his own size. Now he fighting guys his own size. Come on. And he already said he don't feel like going back and forth from those 68 and 75. They ruined it last year. I ain't want to say it, but hey, I know a lot of people feelings got hurt just now, but I know they think, oh, maybe Benavidez could be the one to stop Crawford. No, it's over with. You had your chance. That's really why his name being brought up right now. Yeah, don't try to use him as no guard dog. He trying to have real fights out here. This man is fighting possibly one of Benavidez's toughest opponents. Yeah, he's fighting one of his toughest opponents, man. That man can't be turning around trying to have a fight with Crawford like that. I had to think about it. It really doesn't make sense, to be honest with you. That's what happens though. I tell people sometimes, I'll be like, hey man, do everybody know what they're doing? I don't know if fans know what they were doing when they suggested that Benavidez go up and Morrell fight him at 75 and go up too. That was before they thought that Crawford was gonna fight at 68. They didn't think that Crawford was gonna fight at 68. So, but yeah, Turkey's already talked to Benavidez and Crawford. They was talking about 160 or something like that, or a catch weight. He said make Crawford versus make Canelo versus Spence. Yeah, that'll be good. Yeah, Spence is still a tough fight for anybody though. The only thing I knew about this weekend was I knew Canelo wasn't gonna be able to fight Crawford the same way Spence did. I think a lot of people thought that the way Spence fought Crawford was gonna be easy. Yeah, you might not ever see nobody fight Crawford the way Spence did. That guy Majumov couldn't even do that. I'm telling y'all, if y'all go back and look at the guy Majumov, I know PD was telling me about Majumov having some issues after the Virgil Ortiz fight. But I went back and looked because I was watching him fight Crawford. I went back and looked, and the dude was, when he fought Virgil Ortiz, he was already cooked when the fight started, bro. If you look at his leg and his shoulder, he couldn't hold his arm up. He said he had a knee issue. You could tell he's limping like the whole first round. I'm like, man, I wasn't even paying attention to this. I'm telling you, dudes fight Terence Crawford, and they not the same. You might see Canelo get dropped in the next fight. Canelo got one of those whoopings where you turn into a whole different person. Y'all ever seen that one guy that was bullying people at school, and then he get beat up, and then the rest of the school year he start acting nice? That's one of them. That's one of them fights that Canelo was in yesterday. He looked like a whole different person after the fight. Everybody's like, "Oh, he's so nice." Yeah, he's nice. He just got the most expensive butt whooping you can get right now. Yeah, whatever he does next, I'm cool with it. If he want to keep boxing, yeah, he could definitely do it. He looks good for 37, about to be 38, probably like a week or two. But for the age of 38, yeah, he's in tip top shape. Yeah, the 160 would actually be good, but They gotta get these fights going though. But yeah, him fighting at 160 actually be pretty good. I think that's gonna be something that'll be a big deal in the fight game if that can happen. Yeah, I think that actually will be a big deal. Cause 160 don't have no kind of noise around it right now. And every time Crawford gets to a division, it gets kind of hyped a little bit. With 54, it was that way. Cause we already had Charlo and Hurd and Julian J. Rock. A lot of those guys was already there. When they started to move on and slow down a little bit, you had Fandora, a couple of guys pop up. Lubin lost to Charlo, but he was still moving up. But yeah, 160 needs some kind of action, man. It does. I think maybe Crawford, if he could, fighting at 160 would definitely rejuvenate that division because right now the only fight they had that people can think about is Shiraz and Adamas and Garcia and Lara. And Garcia is not really a natural 160. But yeah, that fight last night with Terence Crawford, he went out there and showed everybody exactly what's been talked about as far as the skills in boxing. That's why everybody did not want to fight him. People say, "Oh, that's running." First of all, the moving he did last night, made sure that Canelo can sit in one little spot and save all his energy. Because that's what he wanted to do last night. He wanted to sit in one spot and save all his energy. Didn't want to move. And when Crawford started making a move, started making them pay. But yeah, a lot of people say, "Oh, he's running," and yeah, that's why a lot of guys don't want to fight that style. They say that's running, but that's what happens when guys like Canelo fight that style. Yeah, last night was a statement. All the choosing around certain styles you don't want to fight, I don't think it's going to be happening too much anymore in the future. That's what that fight last night meant to me more than anything. Like guys really been dancing around the styles. We seen what happened with Zepeda and Shakur. We seen what happened with Crawford and Canelo. Same thing happened. Yeah, that's why people don't want to be around that style though. They have to fight that style. And a lot of guys haven't fought that style. That's the thing about Canelo's resume. He has a very big resume, but he hasn't fought that style a lot of his career. That's the crazy part. Haven't fought that style a lot at all. So yeah, you gotta make these guys get in the ring with legit champions, and that's why mandatories and everything like that is important. Him moving around those mandatories all those years, it just caught up to him. That's why 168 so stacked right now. That's why Lester Martinez and Billy fight was so intense last night. These guys got so much experience from fighting guys before having a title fight. What's up, J man? What's going on? He said Matador. Definitely was Matador last night. Definitely Matador. I'm not even gonna lie to y'all. I didn't even notice that it wasn't no Canelo fan trolling. I ain't seen no Canelo fans trolling. Shoot, hey, when Deontay Wilder lost, I was back online the next day, and everybody was out here talking about, oh, he got slept. Yeah, these dudes hiding right now. These guys is hiding right now. They did not look good last night. Definitely did not look good. That crowd was so quiet last night. And then the crazy thing about last night, Canelo almost got knocked out with a jab. Cause I couldn't hear the crowd. All I seen was Crawford throw a jab and the whole crowd stood up. I'm like, bro, out of all the punches y'all seen tonight, this dude finna get knocked out with a jab. I said, oh yeah, he getting embarrassed out there. Definitely getting embarrassed. And that's for everybody that sat up here and said, oh, he doesn't have skills like a Mayweather or something like that. Hey, you can say what you want to say. But I don't know how many times you're going to see Canelo get beat up like that. Or how many times you have seen him get beat up like that. He could have got knocked out last night. A lot of people ain't going to say it. He almost got stopped last night. Like, he almost got stopped badly. He didn't even want to engage. He started moving around. He tried to clinch. He tried to grab Crawford like 2 or 3 times. Definitely wasn't going to work. He realized, oh, no, I can't grab him. Nah, you definitely can't grab this guy. Nah, you can't grab this guy. He ain't just no boxer. I thought Crawford was going to do some. But to be honest with you, when Canelo lifted him up over his head and Crawford ain't do nothing, I was like, oh, yeah, he locked in. You know, usually he'll get mad. He'll start pushing guys around. I'm like, what is he doing? I was like, oh, yeah, he just locked in. He just trying to figure out what he going to do to Canelo next as far as these punches. But, yeah, Canelo, he definitely, I'll say one thing. Crawford looked like he had a better chin than Canelo last night. Crawford looked like he had the better chin than Canelo last night. Canelo could not handle the power punches from Crawford. He did not want to get in any kind of exchanges. Crawford really punked him last night. I'm going to tell you why. Because he was basically countering Canelo like, hey, you can get the first shot off. Canelo was landing the right hand. Then when Crawford started throwing them combinations, Canelo like, nah, I can't get it. I got to get out of here. And the rest of the fight, he just started to pick his spots, try to throw a combination, but that was about it. Yeah, he gave up early. Yeah, I knew it was over about 6, 7 rounds. It was already over. But the power, I told everybody, the power is not going to be there. Terence Crawford defense is way better than people think. Canelo defense is what people had to worry about. He has no defense. And people talking about he was running. Crawford was running. Man, please. He said, what about Trout, Laura, even Khan, now Bud? Canelo has fought all styles. Jerry, you said Canelo has fought all styles. Yeah, we know that already. You said you tripping, bro. Canelo lost fair and square, but never near getting stopped. You said he didn't almost get stopped last night. You said he didn't almost get stopped last night. Man, you tripping. I don't know what fight you watched last night. Y'all see that this dude Jerry talking about some don't dick ride now. That's the same thing. I'm glad you said that too. That's the same thing Tank said. Tank said that everybody dick ride, allegedly. Like Jerry just said in the comment section. He said, "You are tripping, bro. Canelo lost fair and square, but never near getting stopped. Don't dick ride now. He almost got stopped last night." Terence Crawford saved Canelo's career last night. Because he didn't put that man on the ground last night, Canelo can go home and show his face in Mexico. He almost ended that man's career last night. Almost. And Canelo didn't fight no Mexican style last night. He didn't fight on the inside. He didn't want to clinch. He couldn't clinch. He didn't look strong. His legs was all over the place. I don't even know how many punches he threw. So it's a lot of stuff that I can talk about where, yeah, Canelo looked regular last night. As far as in front of Terence Crawford. Not saying that he's a terrible fighter. We know he's a great fighter. We know he's a great fighter, but you say he didn't almost get stopped last night? Need to go back and watch that fight again. You definitely got to go back and watch that fight again last night. If you think he didn't almost get stopped last night, man, that's what I'm trying to explain to you. Matter of fact, when you go back and look at Terence Crawford's resume, I want you to look at the whole resume. And then I want you to look at Canelo. And just think to yourself, like, is Canelo going to be more active than all these guys that Terence Crawford have fought? It ain't a lot of guys active right now. And we could take Earl Spence' name off of there. The other guys still ain't active. And he ain't fighting old guys. Man, he almost got stopped last night. I'm telling you that right now. I'm telling you that right now. I watched Canelo fight Jerry. I watched Canelo fight Triple G 3 times. I don't know if you know it or not. But that's an hour and a half worth of fighting. Hour and a half. And the man did not even get close to stopping him or even hurting him like that. They were just punching each other. Punch, 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 punch. I was like, bro, I don't like this. This is terrible. People are really entertained by this. They're just throwing haymakers back and forth. Punch, punch. Don't even look like a real fight after a while. It's like, man, these dudes throwing haymakers on each other. Can't nobody hurt nobody. None of these guys is wobbling each other. It looked like a bar fight after a while. It looked like a bar fight for an hour and a half. And you trying to tell me what Terence Crawford did last night? I'm going to sit here and be like, yeah, that's the same thing Triple G did against Canelo. No, sir. No, Triple G looked like he did some regular stuff. What Terence Crawford did last night, people are talking about Canelo possibly needs to stop boxing. That wasn't a regular performance. That was a you might be done out here performance. Yeah, he was definitely putting hands on him. Trust me. Now, Canelo's not an easy out. That's why he wasn't stopped. But yeah, you may never see him beat down like that again. That's the crazy thing about it. That's why it's such a big deal. I can't sit around here and see Canelo get beat up like that and just sit up here and be like, yeah, man, Canelo did his best. Oh, okay. You got beat up though. That wasn't what Floyd was doing. I know everybody said, yeah, well, Floyd ain't almost stopped Canelo. And I grew up watching Floyd like everybody else did. Floyd didn't almost stop Canelo. Matter of fact, I go a step further. Before Floyd fought guys, he wasn't no scary kind of fighter where he just was scaring guys. Man, Crawford had Canelo shook. Canelo shaking hands at the weigh-in, and I know he done did that a couple times before, but he know what time it is. Don't be doing all that. You're going to get stopped stuff. And then later on, you like, oh, it's just going to be a good fight. He said, no, that was a very in shape and motivated Canelo. Terence just better. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, he was getting his head pushed back and everything. That's insane that people are actually look at that performance and be like, yeah, that wasn't no regular performance, bro. That wasn't no regular butt whooping. And this is after, what makes it worse is this is after everybody said, oh, Madrimov is this and that. I said, bro, Madrimov got Terence Crawford prepared. Terence Crawford threw the same punches. Like J-Man was saying, that Madrimov fight was the same thing that basically happened with Canelo. And Canelo's not moving. So Terence Crawford was having a field day. Like, oh, this dude ain't moving. But he did the same thing with Madrimov. He even said, I wasn't supposed to fight Madrimov. I was supposed to fight Canelo. When Munguia fought Canelo, that's when Crawford was supposed to fight Canelo. But he said, I'll just fight Tim Tszyu. Then it went from Tim Tszyu to Fandora, then Madrimov. He said, I'll just fight this guy then. And come to find out, that was the best style that he could fight to prepare for Canelo. It just was. But yeah, you can't see Canelo get beat up like that and say, oh, that was just a regular performance. And nah, that wasn't normal. He got beat down. Yeah, he got beat down last night. We got to think about all the people that Canelo been in the ring with. You telling me all those powerful guys that Canelo been in the ring with, and he let a 135 type of guy go in the ring and beat him up like that? And Canelo was in good shape last night. I'm going to be honest with you. Canelo's stamina was good last night. He just couldn't do anything. And his movement, he was moving around good. Just couldn't do nothing. He can't punch like that. Different kind of puncher. Like he was telling everybody. Floyd is better defensively than Terence Crawford. Like quick twitch, flinching, the feinting. Like Floyd is the best. Like he could feint 50 times and not even move. Floyd would just be moving his neck. Like just move his neck. Feinting, like shaking his head, and the guys would be all over the place. But with Terence Crawford, he's putting hands all over you. No matter who you are, if you're walking down an alley, I'm going to describe this the best way for anybody on earth, especially you're a black person. If you're walking down an alley and there's a guy at the end of the alley and it's Floyd Mayweather and it's Terence Crawford. If it's Floyd Mayweather, you going to probably make it home. If it's Terence Crawford, you ain't making it home. So y'all telling me, oh yeah, I think Floyd, he was okay. With Floyd, you gonna make it home. With Terence Crawford, you ain't making it home. I'm telling you that right now. If they would have turned the clock off on Canelo, he wouldn't be at home right now. So all that trying to compare Floyd to Terence Crawford, it ain't no comparison because Terence Crawford ended careers. Like I said before, this ain't something that's gonna happen again. This ain't normal. He getting dudes up out of there. It don't matter if you're a journeyman or what. Matter of fact, the only person that's really boxing right now still is journeyman that Terence Crawford beat. Everybody else who elite, they at home or they retired or on their way out. And most of these guys are younger than him. So it's not because of age. And Terence Crawford's only 37. So he's basically beat everybody. He's to the point now where the only challenges he got is guys 10 years younger than him. He got to go back 3 generations. You know what I'm saying? He got to fight his basically younger generation to get a name now. Because he didn't knocked off everybody else. This man knocking off whole generations. People don't understand that. The only reason why, I'm gonna tell you this right here. I'm gonna go a step deeper now. The only reason why people are talking about Teofimo Lopez, Shakur Stevenson, not the only reason, but the big reason why people are talking about Teofimo Lopez, Shakur Stevenson, Floyd Schofield, Abdullah Mason, Keyshawn Davis. You know why everybody's mentioning those fighters the most right now? Because Terence Crawford had knocked off everybody else older than them. Everybody that's older than those guys, Terence Crawford has destroyed already. Terence Crawford is like Scarf, the Lion King. The only people left is Simba. Everybody else like Mufasa and got ate up already. So they out here throwing people talking about some why is Vargas on the co-main event? Because everybody else done got beat already. Who they gonna throw on the co-main event? Who they gonna put on there? You see Pacquiao still scared to make some moves over there. This man done beat everybody from Abdullah Mason age up to his age. Only person left is Boots. If he beat Boots, we ain't got nobody left. We got to start over with guys who 24 years old. Jerry said, maybe you have not watched enough boxing to know that the fight was no beatdown, not even close. But one, there is no dispute. But if you think that was a beatdown, you clearly don't know what a beatdown is. Oh, I don't know. If you don't think that was a beatdown, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know what to tell you then. Maybe you're just hard to impress. You ever thought about that? I'm gonna tell you one thing, Jerry, though. That Canelo you seen in the ring, that's gonna be the best one you see for a long time. I'm gonna just let you know that right now. That's gonna be the best Canelo you run into for a minute. Because the confidence he had going in that ring did not have it leaving. And not because he lost. The way he lost. The way he lost. And he lost in front of all the fans like that. You gotta think about it. Terence Crawford, he went to this fight like, man, I'm just gonna show y'all what's gonna happen. And made it happen. But yeah, that's not considered a beatdown in boxing then. Yeah, I don't understand why people made a big deal about the Madraman fight then. That's what I'm trying to understand. That was definitely a beatdown. Oh yeah, speaking of Tank, I'm glad J-Man said that. Speaking of Tank, I was gonna do a video about it. I didn't want to waste my time. Speaking of Tank, I heard earlier somebody said Tank was reacting to Terence Crawford. Now we know that Terence Crawford and Tank has a back and forth. So I'm not saying that Tank got to be best friends with Terence Crawford or nothing like that. But after Terence Crawford beat Spence, Tank was talking about how he'll knock him out in 7 rounds or something like that, right? And you had all these people walking around talking about, yeah, Tank could do it. How about Tank go out there and knock out Canelo right now, since he like that? For everybody who said that. And second of all, for Tank to be saying that every time, okay, you and Crawford got a back and forth. But every time a black dude end up doing something like a big win, Tank always say something. No matter, just look at it. You can look it up. Anytime. Tank don't got nothing to say about Ryan Garcia. Ryan Garcia just said recently that Jake Paul probably gonna beat Tank. And basically Tank ain't trying to fight nobody. He been going at Tank. Then he said Tank lost to Roach. I mean, Ryan been going in on Tank. He lost to Roach. If that was me, they would have robbed me if that was me. But this man talking about, yeah, I'm worried about Berlanga. And I'm worried about Terence Crawford. Get out of here. You finna fight Jake Paul. Even Canelo stepped in the ring and fought somebody. Step it up. I can't even put Canelo in the same group as you no more. Step up. Tank Davis need to step it up. Even Canelo jumped in the ring and fought somebody with a name. Canelo said, I want a legacy. I ain't trying to be compared to Tank Davis no more. Canelo jumped on the internet one day. They was like, yeah, Canelo, they comparing you to Tank. He like, oh, man, I need to fight somebody. Forget this. I'll let Tank Davis have the Jake Paul fight. I need to fight somebody. Ain't no way I'm about to be compared with Tank Davis. Canelo like, yeah, they can have these belts. If I'm going to be compared to Tank, yeah, I need to fight somebody. ASAP. Man, Terence Crawford would have beat the brakes off of Tank Davis. Every time some dude do something, Tank Davis always be like, yeah, what? He just mad that people were saying that Crawford was the face of boxing last night. I wasn't the first one that was saying it last night. You had all kind of celebrities and boxers last night from America that was saying that Terence Crawford was that guy and he the GOAT. And Tank Davis just like, man, y'all dick ride, man. Like Jerry was just doing. What you want me to salute Tank? So you want me to salute Tank for fighting Jake Paul? That's what's going on. So Tank Davis don't want us to congratulate Crawford for fighting Canelo. He like, congratulate me for fighting Jake Paul. Ain't no way this man is really human. This man want the streets to come out for Jake Paul, but not for Canelo and Terence Crawford. Tank fans got to speak up for this, bro. Tank like, yeah, man, we showing up for Jake Paul, but not Terence Crawford and Canelo. We ain't doing that. Man, please, you don't get out of here with that. Canelo just made like 150 just now in 30 minutes. He ain't worried about no Jake Paul or nobody. But that's a hater, though. Let me be honest with you. That's a hater. Like a real deal hater. Ryan Garcia has said everything about this guy. Teofimo has trolled him plenty of times. I know one thing, when they were doing that to Crawford, he said something. He said something to Teofimo. This dude Tank ain't trying to fight nobody though, man. Everybody already know it. Let's be real. If Terence Crawford had the kind of push like Tank, he'll be 5-time undisputed. And yeah, I said it. If he had the same kind of push, if he was protected like that, allegedly, he'll be 5-time undisputed. 5-time. This man was getting held back and he's still 3-time undisputed. Let's be real. Fighting one time a year since 2019. Terence Crawford has been fighting once a year since 2019. Tank Davis went to jail and still fought more than that. once in 2019, since 2019, once a year. Like these dudes been holding him back. He really supposed to be fighting more than what he fighting. People like he ain't got no resume. How is he gonna have a resume when ain't nobody trying to fight nobody? Then when Turkey Al Sheikh show up, then everybody like, man, why everybody trying to make these moves with Turkey? Because ain't nobody been making no moves. People want you to wait on the mailman, but then when the money show up, everybody like, no, just wait on the mailman. Nah, bro, the money here already. I'm not finna wait on no mailman. Yeah, he'll beat the crap out of Tank right now. Tank ain't stepping in the ring with Shakur. He like, nah, I'm good. I'm good on that. I seen him Dylan Mason last night. I'm like, 2 more years? That's why I said in 2 more years, is Tank gonna be in boxing? Nah. Not with guys like Abdullah Mason walking around. I mean, boxing ain't that big no more. That's why a lot of people jumping around to me. Man, I don't want to see they making all these changes. They making everybody fight each other. That's what's going on. Dudes been getting paid. Bro, we done seen dudes get paid. Uh, they done went from Showtime, HBO to Showtime. Guys that got paid, they done went to Amazon. We ain't seen no fights. We don't even know if dudes is getting paid like that. Turkey show up. That's crazy. It'd be funny because they'd be like, man, don't worry about my money. And then you be like, man, I'm trying to see you fight so and so. Then they'd be like, man, I'm trying to get some money. I ain't fighting for free. I thought you told me not to worry about your money. Well, now you want me to worry about your money? I'm confused. I don't understand. I just want to watch a fight. Tank like, don't worry about my money, but send me some money for that pay-per-view. Then this man about to fight Jay Paul. That's crazy. Yeah, Abdullah Mason took a picture with Crawford. That's how I seen him. He took a picture with Crawford. I'm like, man, Crawford taking pictures with everybody. Canelo was too. Canelo was doing interviews. I'm like, bro, this dude did an interview like after the weigh-in or something. So yeah, that media week was crazy. That might have been crazier than McGregor and Crawford because they were doing so many interviews during the week. They still got interviews coming out right now. I just seen that Crawford. If y'all want to see some good stuff, go around and look at the interviews they had during the week with Crawford and Canelo. They got so many interviews out. It's a lot of people that were saying some good stuff people gonna miss. Yeah, they said Tank is fighting DJ Paul. That is sad. Yeah, he fight Jake Paul, man. Fighting him. I'm talking about going in there, whatever size he gonna go in there and fight him. And talking about what Crawford doing. I don't think he understands. I mean, most guys wouldn't really get criticized right now, but the only person that's really getting criticized for not fighting certain people is Tank. Then you go and fight Jake Paul. You the last guy that's supposed to do that. Yeah, so man, I think it's over for him with direction he going. I'm gonna be real. You can't sit around and pick guys at this stage in your career. Then we just seen Floyd Schofield get a knockout over Tevin Farmer, a dude you was been supposed to fight. Nah, it's over. He said, "Did you hear the Atlanta Commission that approved the Jake and Tank fight? Too much weight discrepancy." Yeah, I heard about that. Yeah, they ain't playing down there. Yeah, I heard about that. Yeah, I definitely heard about that. I heard people said that they want more money and stuff like that. Nah, that's not true. Like as far as Atlanta, the boxing matches, as far as I know in history, when I was staying there in Atlanta, they don't have a lot of boxing matches like that. Like they had Shakur against Jamel Herring. I think Tank fought there once or twice during the pandemic. That was one of the reasons why he fought there because it was open during the pandemic. But yeah, because it seems like guys only fight in Atlanta when they need it. You know what I'm saying? Oh, it's the pandemic, can't go nowhere, so let's fight in Atlanta. We know that people gonna spend their money over there, so Atlanta, the commission just peep game, and they kind of like, I mean, if you're doing a real fight, yeah, but you trying to bring Jake Paul out here, bro? We already ain't got that many fights going on right now, so that's how they kind of looking at it. They like, we're not even having that many fights already, and you trying to mess up our name or our reputation by bringing this Jake Paul fight out here. If something happened, we definitely ain't gonna have no fights out here now. So that's how they looking at it. That one fight can ruin their whole little situation. They just started getting more fights down there too. They're not really a place to have boxing matches. Yeah, Tank going in there. They like, bro. Hey, the way they thinking about it, J man, they like, hey, if Tank going in there to fight this dude, I ain't even trying to figure out this a clean fight or not. I'm just leaving it alone. An amateur, basically an amateur versus a pro. I know he a pro, but against Tank, he's just a big amateur in my eyes. Yeah, it's a decrease in boxing. It really is. And the worst part about it is with Tank is that Mike Tyson still had more hype. I told these dudes, man, y'all ain't Mike Tyson, man. Mike Tyson got a reputation. His reputation is he will fight anybody. Period. He might not win all the time, but from what I've seen, he gonna set the fight up. Matter of fact, I was watching the clip recently where they was talking about Roy Jones and him fighting. It was like 2003. Then Layla Ali was like, "Yeah, I'll fight on the undercard." And then you got all these years later, you still got them same three people talking about fighting. So just imagine how many fights they didn't have back in the day that Roy Jones and Mike Tyson and Layla Ali could have been in. But instead of making those fights, they gonna make Jake Paul versus Tank. Man, get out of here. Ain't nobody trying to watch that. That's why we needed Netflix for this Canelo and Crawford fight. If that fight would have been on the zone, it wouldn't have looked right. I know Netflix wasn't the best platform last night, but I didn't like how the zone did that Majamal fight. The commentary was trash too. Oh yeah, it definitely won't be an exhibition. He been training too long. Jake Paul been training too long. That's why a lot of boxers are actually saying Tank might lose. I think Ryan said he'll lose. Man, that's a few boxers said he'll lose. I don't think they hyping it up either. Cause Jake Paul not a small guy. He's not a small guy at all. Yeah, Tommy Fury not a small guy. But yeah, people seen. But I can't believe he be reacting to Terence Crawford all the time like that. Like it's a comparison. It's not really. A lot of these guys think they on Terence Crawford level. They not. And people trying to make it seem like they are. You got people saying that Tank, he could take Terence Crawford in the fight right now. Him not fighting Lamont Roach right now is that's the reason why everybody able to talk. The fact that he not fighting Lamont Roach, I ain't got nothing to talk about when it comes to him. Nothing. You made Lamont Roach run you off the internet? Nah, it's over with for you. real. You'll never see Terence Crawford have somebody like Lamont Roach run them off the internet after a fight. This man got ran off the internet. Talking about you the face of boxing. And you ain't even asking the fans what fight they want to see. That's what Canelo got away from. He did it at the last minute because of his payday with Turkey, but it's too late though. All his good years gone away. Yeah, it's too late. With Crawford, it's not a whole big secret of, hey, who you want to fight? He like, hey, man, I can go to 160. I don't know. Anything can happen. He ain't say, hey, I might retire. He just like, hey, I can go to 160. I don't know. Anything can happen. That's face of boxing stuff. That's face of boxing stuff. All this, hey, so and so ducking. Then you sign a fight with Jake Paul. Man, come on. Ain't nobody trying to watch boxing if y'all telling everybody, hey, the only guy that want to fight is Jake Paul, and he ain't even a real boxer. So now a lot of young kids know who Terence Crawford is. Last year, the only fighters they probably knew was Mike Tyson, Jake Paul, Ryan Garcia. A lot of people didn't know Canelo like that either. So he probably got known a lot more as well. Canelo popular, but he's not like Conor McGregor type popular. Yeah, he's not that popular. You would know. If he was that popular, he'd get a standing ovation everywhere. Yeah, he's definitely not that popular though. But right now, as far as skill level in boxing, Terence Crawford is number one, man. Since Floyd, I feel like he's a better puncher. Cause I seen Floyd with Canelo, and like I said, his feinting movement is top tier. Like everything about a boxer, but when it comes to punching, like beating people up, yeah, with Terence Crawford, it don't get no better. Yeah, when it comes to beating people up, it gets no better than that. And I think a lot of people looking past that. Like they don't understand. I don't know what kind of boxer they think he is. I think thought he was like a technical guy who stays away, but he's destroying people. I think that needs to be his reputation. You have a lot of guys who's known as power punchers, but this guy destroys people. I don't even know what Canelo gonna go from here. Eddie Reynoso looked destroyed last night. Before the fight, when they was doing the announcements, the national anthem, he was looking. I don't know, man. The guy looked like he was at a funeral or something. Eddie Reynoso looked out of it last night. Yeah, he been the best since Floyd. Facts. Man, I'm gonna tell you right now. Guys like Terence Crawford, Haney up next. As far as the face of boxing, Shakur Stevenson, Benavidez. Yeah, man, it's a lot of names you could throw in there. But right now, Terence Crawford shutting it down. But guys like Benavidez and Haney, they definitely gonna start that in November. They already been doing it now, but I think they're hitting that level now where they're starting to be some of the guys in front, not just the young guys that's in the middle of the pack. Yeah, they really chasing undisputed 1 and 2 times. I think Benavidez would have already been undisputed. Even if Benavidez would have been undisputed at 68, he would have already left. So Terence Crawford would have still been undisputed at 68. but he would have already been going to 175 by now. Yeah, boxing don't know it, but they kind of lined up Canelo a little bit. If they would have got him to Benavidez a little bit earlier, like before Benavidez fought Plant, he probably had a chance. Probably had a good chance. But now, nah, he ain't got no chance. That's why that was never an option. Yeah, this new era in good hands, bro. Everybody trying to fight each other. That's what I noticed too, Jay, man. It's a lot of guys. These new fighters. One thing I noticed too, I don't know about, because I'm not that old, but I don't know about back in the day, but I haven't seen in a long time where all the young fighters go to a big fight and everybody know who they are. Whether it was Hitchens, T.O., um, Shakur, Keyshawn, any kind of young fighters you could think of. Everybody knew who they was. And we talking about the younger guys, like they're not in their 30s yet. So that's how you know boxing is growing right now, but they just got to start fighting each other. Everybody know each other, but you got to get in the ring and start mixing it up like Crawford and Canelo doing so you can get the people talking a little bit. The best way to build a fight up right now is to actually fight. That's the only way. A lot of people don't want to wait on the fight for 6 or 7 months, 8 months. They want to have the fight now. The way that like Haney and Norman fight got set up, they got to start becoming normal. Because if some boxers are doing it, and I got something coming out tomorrow that somebody said recently about, I'll just say this right now. A boxer had said, this is while I was looking for some stuff for the Canelo and Crawford fight a couple of days ago, but a boxer came out and said a lot of these guys, and it's somebody who fought an undisputed fighter. He said that a lot of these guys don't want, even though they're holding their O because they want to get the most money. And a lot of these guys know that if you lose, sometimes they try to pay you less on purpose because you lost. He said still a lot of guys don't want to fight though. Most of the time, a lot of guys just don't want to fight. Like they don't want to fight certain guys they know they'll lose to. I didn't think that was the reason. Like recently I was saying, nah, maybe guys are just, loyal to promotional teams and whatever. Nah, this guy said a lot of guys do not want to fight each other. So it wasn't just a thing about Terence Crawford not being on the same right side of the street or whatever. A lot of the guys did not want to fight him. There's still a lot of people that don't call him out. Y'all notice that? It's not a lot of people who call out Terence Crawford for a fight. Even after he beat Spence, it was people saying his name, but that was more so a payday. Not a lot of people want to fight him. I've noticed that. And last night proved that reason why. Terence Crawford is not known as a guy who's been ducked. Yeah, strike while the iron hot. Yeah, sad but true. Yeah, I can't wait to see Abdullah Mesa get a belt. Put some pressure on these guys. See what Floyd Schofield can do. I would see him and Floyd Schofield fight right now. That's a good fight. I'm actually waiting on that fight. I know that fight is two young guys early, but I actually want to see him and Floyd Schofield fight. And that was before Floyd Schofield knocked out Farmer. I think that's a good fight, though. That's definitely one I want to see. But the direction Terence Crawford is moving boxing in, guys are going to be fighting. I'm telling you, all the young guys in boxing, they seen this fight with him and Canelo, and they said two things we got to do. We got to go out there and let our hands go. We got to be entertaining. If we're going to be talking, we got to bag it up. And we got to fight. And we got to fight somebody that has good talent and has a big name. You're not finna have all those fans come out there just to see somebody that they don't really know, like they don't recognize, or that's not really talented. And last night it was a lot of talent on the card. A lot of talent. Even the Martinez and Billy fight, people was like, yeah, this is a good fight. But yeah, Terence Crawford is making a whole different change in boxing. Last night was basically a point in boxing where a lot of young guys and the guys who coming up now in boxing, they're gonna start fighting each other more. They're not gonna wait till they're 35. It's gonna be a lot of different changes. I'm telling you, you're gonna see a lot of guys start to hang it up a little bit earlier in boxing. Just because the demand gonna be a lot higher. The way guys was fighting last night, you can tell that Turkey was telling guys like, hey man, y'all gotta go out here and let your hands go a little bit. You ain't gotta go out here and just let your hands go for no reason, but get a fan something. Yeah, you can definitely tell. And then Crawford topped it off with a perfect performance at the end against Canelo. You're not gonna see people beat up Canelo like that again. Not like that. Now it's a possibility that Canelo can lose some confidence or just not feel the same about boxing after getting beat up like that. Yeah, Bud can retire right now. He can retire right now. I've heard a few people say that. He could definitely retire for me. He could retire right now. I'm telling you, he put so many names. He put so much light on a lot of names. He's not gonna get credit for it now. But he's put the spotlight on a lot of fighters. Even a lot of people that know who Shakur was, they probably know Shakur by being around him. Keyshawn Davis, the same thing. So yeah, he's put the spotlight on a lot of fighters. He's different, man. Like he does face a boxing type of stuff. He don't get credit for it, but the way he fights, like he said recently, none of his fights are close. This man might go down in history as the only fighter who never had a close fight. I'm talking about never had a close fight. You gotta think about it. It's a lot of guys that had close fights before. Terence Crawford hang it up right now. He's gonna be considered one of the only boxers, if not the only boxer, who's never had a close fight. And now people think my Jamal fight was close, like I said before. People will say my Jamal fight was close, but even Canelo didn't look like how my Jamal looked after he fought Crawford. Yeah, it looked like two totally different guys. Yeah, everybody knows that. Yeah, but when Majamal got caught by where is it at? He went from looking like that before the fight, then after the fight, boom. And people say, yeah, this is a close fight. This how good Terence Crawford is. He beat a guy up like this and was a close fight. Then the guy said, man, my shoulder and my knee messed up. People don't know, but Majamal only had one fight since he fought Terence Crawford. That was against Ortiz. The man said my shoulder and my knee messed up before I fought the guy. And my shoulder and my knee still ain't good. And I couldn't box Ortiz that good because of my shoulder and my knee. That man didn't even want to tell everybody that, hey, Terence Crawford beat me up so bad that my shoulder and my knee still ain't good. I mean, I done heard of guys getting hit by cars and bouncing back faster than him. This man act like he got in a car wreck. Like he got hit by a car and everything. I'm telling y'all, go back and look at the fight. I'm actually gonna look at it again because I didn't get a good look at it. But when I seen it, I knew it was true. I went back and seen the fight with Terence Crawford and Majamov, and I said, okay, I'm seeing how Majamov moving his arms and everything else. I go and turn on and fight with him and Virgil Ortiz the first round. The dude barely moving his left leg. Then I think his right arm, his right shoulder. He was kind of like chicken winging it a little bit. He was trying to punch with it, but he couldn't even punch. So I'm like, oh, this dude was beat up before he even got in the ring. So my dude was beat up. So right now he's talking about how he's trying to bounce back in his career. And this is somebody who went 12 rounds in his last 2 fights. Championship fights, type of fights. Yeah, I think, Ortiz fight was a championship fight too. 2 championship fights he's been in. And he's went 12 rounds in both fights. And the guy, his career looked like it's on almost over because of the injuries he took against Terence Crawford. That's what people don't understand. If you fight Terence Crawford, you might need 2 years off. And people might be like, you trying to be funny. Okay, the dude fought Terence Crawford, last August? He's still trying to bounce back from the injuries. We're in September of next year, which is 2025. He's trying to fight again in December. But look, that's going to be over a year already. That's going to be almost 2 years or going on 2 years. That man took a car wreck beating. When I seen that, I said, oh, Canelo's going to lose. And I'm a Terence Crawford fan. You got to think about it. That sounds like a horror movie. You got a boxer out here, putting guys in a wheelchair or whatever. Not literally, but I'm saying. At this point, when you got to have knee surgery and shoulder surgery, he was in a wheelchair. That man had shoulder surgery and a knee surgery. He was in a wheelchair, getting around. You're not gonna be on the crutches and everything else with one leg and one arm on opposite sides. Yeah, he took a real beating. So then I started to look down Terence Crawford's resume. Bro, everybody he's beating is not bouncing back. And then all the guys he did stop. They never been stopped before. So I said, his power is real. Even if he's fighting a no-name, if the guy's never been stopped before and he's doing it over and over and over, that's not normal. Yeah, nobody bounced quick after fighting him, Jay, man. You bounce back after fighting him. You that guy. Nobody. And I seen Ortiz face after Majamov, and I'm like, because I said after the fight, man, Ortiz ain't really beat Majamov up that bad. Bro. Tell you, dude, Majamov was a hard fight. I told everybody, I said, Majamov is possibly a harder fight for Crawford than Canelo. Now they understand now. That man was a harder fight than Canelo for Terence Crawford. Terence Crawford been fighting guys like Canelo his whole life. They got Majamov, not so much. Yeah, nobody bounced back quick after fighting him. That's just not going to happen. Nobody. And I like that he's getting the recognition now because, man, he's 37, about to be 38. I mean, I don't know how many more fights he could have had where he could have proven how great he was. It was, at this point, it was either fight Benavidez or Canelo. I don't know if fighting Boots would have did anything because he already fought Earl Spence. Yeah, he fighting for belts. And only fighting, you can only do so much when you fighting once a year. And people don't realize it, but I think Charlo and Crawford been fighting like once a year. So he wasn't the only guy fighting once a year. It was him, Charlo. A lot of guys been fighting once a year. That pandemic kind of messed up a lot, especially with these fights. Yeah, he beat people like he say he beat people like he Batman. Wild man say he beat people up like Batman. But he said something about going to 160 though. I don't know if them guys at 160 are really trying to fight each other in the next 12 months. I know Adamas is and Lara, but I don't know. Because Lara and Adamas, they on the same side, but with Janovic having two belts, I think they kind of waiting it out on their side as far as with Adamas and Lara. They trying to wait to see what Janovic gonna do with the belts. If I was Crawford though, I'd fight Janovic. I'd go ahead and do it. Cause I don't think Janovic better than I don't think Janovic better than Canelo. He said he beat him up like Batman. You know what's funny? I was thinking about the cartoon Batman. The one where he be like whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. That's funny. He said Batman. But yeah, he fight a Janovic though, he'll be in there. That'll be a nice fight. Have two belts. But if that happens, he can get undisputed in two fights though at 160. He can go ahead and fight Janovic, get two belts. Then Lara and the Dumbest fight each other, and then whoever win that fight them for the undisputed. That could be probably Lara or something. I don't know who will win between Lara and Adamas though. I can't even front. Yeah, Bud talking about 160, man. Oh, he said who up there? I got the picture up here already. Where is it? I wasn't even thinking about it. I said something about it a couple months ago, but I just seen a video where he was talking about it last night. Yeah, with Lara and Benavidez out the picture. You got Lara, Adamas, and Genevieve. Yeah, but Bud can hang it up though. He ain't gotta do nothing else for me in my eyes though. Whatever he wants to do, he ain't gotta do nothing else at this point. We already gonna have enough fights lined up, regardless. At this point, him beating Canelo just opened the floodgates, especially at 168. After what everybody seen with Lester Martinez and then Billy fight last night, 168 definitely gonna have a lot of attention from fans. Because now a lot of people know who Lester Martinez is and Christian and Billy. I think that fight alone is gonna have 168 on fire, especially when if Crawford dropped them belts. Yeah, that was a good showcase for 168 last night. Because I don't think Canelo wanted to get in type of fight like that with Christian and Billy the way he was fighting last night. I thought about it after a while. I was like, man, I don't know. Canelo fighting and Billy like that, dude might get beat up, man. Adamas was talking about going to 68 too. I want to see it. Him and Janovic. I think Janovic closer to going to 68 than he is. But Janovic though, I don't know if he can get in the fight with Billy and Martinez like they did last night and make something happen. That's why with him trying to entertain a fight with Terence Crawford, that'll probably be his best chance of getting paid right now. I think if anything happened, if there's a possibility that can actually happen, I think it can happen. Because he was out of the picture of Canelo. He been waiting on Canelo for a minute. And for him to lose all the belts, even Sherrod last night talking about Crawford messed up the bag. I'm kind of glad though, man. I'm tired of everybody waiting on the Canelo fight. That started to get old after a while. And we still had more guys lining up to fight Canelo. Of course, because he undisputed. That makes sense. I mean, he got all the belts. But once you see Benavidez don't get the fight, I don't know. In my eyes, it's time to move on. He gonna fight who he want to fight at that point. But Crawford being 3-time undisputed, if he's able to do 4-time undisputed, nobody gonna pass that. They're not gonna be able to do it. Not gonna be able to do it. That's gonna be tough, especially the way boxing going right now. It's gonna be tough. These young guys getting a lot of pressure put on them. Every time Crawford does something like this, it's getting tougher and tougher. Getting undisputed is not easy. And then the way they're doing boxing now, they're having guys fight the best of the best, especially when you fight with Turkey. So it's hard to keep those belts. Very hard. So I don't know if 3-time undisputed can actually happen in the next 20, 30 years. And if he's able to go for 4, that'll be saying something. And I say it's possible because the guys who are around that 60 division who got belts, Lars older, Janovic's not that younger, or Adamas not that much younger. You know, something could happen. It'll only be 2 fights. But yeah, he might turn around and just say, nah, I'm good. But it seems like it's something they already thought about. Retirement. Once a guy's ready to retire, you would know. But it seems like Crawford wants to still keep going. Yeah, I think his next 2 fights will be huge too. After that performance he put on against Canelo, I mean, everybody's talking about it. This is something he needed. He needed a guy like Canelo to step up and give a guy like Crawford an opportunity. That's what boxing's about, though. Even Bitterbeard was saying yesterday, that's what boxing's about now. Guys stepping up, giving the best guy an opportunity to prove himself. Because everybody knew Crawford was the best. Don't get it twisted. Everybody knew Crawford was the best. They know he's been around for a while. Where that picture at I had? Let me get this. Even this picture I had with Canelo in 2016, thought I had it up already. With him and Canelo and Serrano, yeah, he knows who Terence Crawford is. These people know who Terence Crawford is. I'm telling you. He might not be the face of boxing to the average person, but in the sports world, in the boxing world, they know who he is. It's a lot of people that go to Canelo fights. Like last year, Canelo fought Munguia. He fought Berlanga last year in Las Vegas. It was a different type of crowd around this time. Different type of fans that was at the fight this time. Different type of fans. I think everybody noticed that. You had real boxing fans come out to see this fight. A lot of people said people didn't want to see Crawford versus Canelo. A lot of people definitely wanted to see this fight. I think a huge reason why Canelo took the fight, though, Mexico was putting that pressure on him. At one point, he had to go through with the fight. Too many people in Mexico asking about the fight. It got to a point after asking about Benavidez, and then you have Crawford pop up. You had Janovic's name. Then you had Shiraz. People was bringing up recently. So without Crawford, he still would have had names that people would have been bringing up to try to pass the torch to, as far as with the belts at 168, especially after his recent fights. But that was a huge fight for Canelo too. That was definitely the biggest fight he's ever been in, besides the Floyd fight. That was the biggest fight he's ever been in. It definitely was. That weigh-in was insane for a stadium. I know the Munguia and Berlanga weigh-in was crazy too, but the weigh-in for the Crawford fight was crazy. I never seen nothing like that. Yeah, Laura like 42, 43. Man, I didn't know Laura was that old. And Laura's like, nah, I don't want to stop boxing. I think Laura like 43 or something. I ain't trying to get ahead of myself because, like J-Man said, I'm at the point now, I don't care what Crawford does. Yeah, Laura's 42. Yeah, I don't care what Crawford does as far as boxing. But I do know that 160 right now would definitely be some good fights for him at this age he's at. And, Laura's 42. He's around the same height as Crawford. Yeah, that'll be a good fight. Janet could be a good fight. I'm telling you, everybody will watch it. He already has the buzz going right now in boxing. If he fight anybody like Janovic, Lara, or Adames, people will watch it, especially Carlos Adames or Lara. Janovic not known like that, but people are tuned in. A lot of people didn't know who Majamal was. He tuned in for that. Yeah, he should be full-time undisputed right now. Yeah, J-Man. Facts. He said Bud can retire. The only other fight that made sense for Bud was Charlo. Undisputed at 154, but they blocked it and went a different route. Yeah, he right about that. He right about that. They definitely could have went that direction, but when I thought about it the other day, J-Man, I don't think Charlo was actually supposed to fight Canelo because his brother was actually supposed to take the fight. Yeah, his brother was supposed to take that fight. I keep forgetting that, but I'm like, man, he was a backup, to be honest with you. He wasn't supposed to fight Canelo at first. It was supposed to be, I think, Big Charlo and then Spence and maybe Jamel Charlo later on, but yeah, he wasn't in the plans at first, but he had to take that fight, didn't turn it down. You said Maul and Bud? That'd be crazy. But Maul ain't been active like that, man. Maul been tripping. He ain't been active like that. I think he had missed out on a big fight at 160. You remember he lost that 160 belt? I forgot about that. He lost the belt at 160, J-Man. I forgot about that. Yeah, Jamal lost that 160 belt last year. I think that's when Lara and Danny Garcia fought for the belt. Yeah, I forgot about that. Lil Charlo was never supposed to fight Canelo. Never. Yeah, they had some other plans going on. But I ain't gonna lie to you though. Maul messed up a lot of plans, bro. If he would have fought Canelo, that would have went another direction. But because I don't know who Charlo would have fought then. Jamel. I don't know who Mel would have fought then. Yeah, it was Big Charlo then Spence. Yeah, I don't know who Mel would have fought. I think Mel would have probably still fought what, Tim Zoo? Yeah, that inactivity is crazy. The inactivity is crazy, man. That's why I'm not really mad they go into apps because the cable platforms they've been having these fights going for like guys fighting only one time a year. That's been going on for a long time. Ever since Floyd been fighting, he started fighting twice a year on those dates, but it was a lot of times he fought like once a year. Because Floyd was fighting from 90 something all the way to like 2017. Yeah, Charlo's. Yeah, mom, bro. He fumbled bad, bro. I felt bad for him, but then I had to think about it. I'm like, bro, Jamel is the one who fought Canelo. He the one who undisputed, but everybody thought that he was the more talented brother. How I scored a fight last night. I thought that Canelo possibly could have squeaked out with like a round or two, but that's really all I can give him. I wasn't really scoring it like that as far as looking at it, but I could tell he only won like one or two rounds. Yeah, Canelo really didn't sell out that much. I think the round when he was landing the right hand on Crawford, that was a good round for him. That was like what, late after the eighth round, like eighth round or something. Probably even later than that. But then the early round when he was boxing well, I think he probably got that round, but only like two rounds. Yeah, that's all I can give Canelo last night. About two rounds. But yeah, that round he was landing that right hand. Yeah, you definitely got to give him that round. He was on point. He was doing a lot of good things last night, but it was only for two rounds. When you fight somebody like Terence Crawford, you got to do that for 12 rounds. Against somebody like these other guys he been fighting, they get scared and then they start to go, "Oh, okay, I'll just stay in the corner." But Crawford like, "No, I'm a counter. I'm a move. I'm gonna try to get you to throw shots." That's the first time I seen Canelo scared to punch. Against William Skull, he wasn't scared to throw punches. He was still catching William Skull with some hard shots to the body. But against Crawford, he didn't want to engage at all. He stopped throwing hooks to the body and all kind of stuff. He said they won't admit it. That talk about Canelo's power, Bud power commanded respect. Man, he had so much power last night in that fight. I don't know why. I feel like him and Shakur could have stopped Canelo and Zepeda. Same kind of results. They were snapping their head all over the place. Canelo, I ain't never seen Canelo's whole body just snap around. People will not talk about Terence Crawford's power. I'm glad J-Man brought that up. Terence Crawford proved last night he got more power than Canelo. It's not even close. He got way more power than Canelo. He had Canelo all over the place. Matter of fact, he hit Canelo one time last night where Canelo almost fell back. And his legs had like, I don't think his legs were gone, but he got hit last night to where he almost fell. I don't think it was because he was off balance either. He got hit with a hard shot last night to where I'm telling you, last night he got hit with a jab and the whole crowd stood up. This was late in the fight, probably like 11th round. That's how hard he was getting hit last night. I never seen the crowd stand up from a guy getting hit from a jab. That alone lets you know that Canelo got beat down bad last night. Yeah, Canelo, he didn't get completely embarrassed, but he was on his way though. If he would have got dropped or possibly stopped, it'll be a different story today. But you could tell Terence Crawford didn't hit the highest he could have went. He could have let his hands go the whole fight, and Canelo could have been in trouble. But he fought a smart fight. He didn't want to give the judges any kind of reason to say, well, you took this many punches, because he did it against Majramov. He tried to make a fan-friendly fight, but then they tried to say, oh, he got hit too much. So in this fight, he's like, hey, I'm going to just move, not get hit. Because you see that against Majramov, he didn't care about getting hit, but they held it against him. So in this fight, he was like, I'm just not going to get hit, so they don't hold it against me. So all the people that say he was running, I mean, you said that you didn't want him to get hit like he did against Majramov, so he got to move so he don't get hit. That's why a lot of times I just don't complain about guys getting hit like that. I mean, if he gets hit, he gets hit. You can still get hit and win a fight. But if you don't like running, I'm not finna. If I'm a person that doesn't like running in a fight, I'm not gonna complain about a guy not moving around or him getting hit too much. That means he's gonna have to move around in order for him not to get hit. You can't not get hit and stand in the same place in boxing. He said only fight I'd like to see from Bud is fighting Tank Punk ass since he want to go fight Jake Paul, go up and fight Crawford. Exactly. I'm glad J Man said that. Exactly. Bro, go fight. That's what I'm saying. This dude want to go up all that weight and fight somebody 200 pounds. Then he goes talking about so he better not be on steroids. You saw that? Did y'all see that Tank said that Jake Paul better not be on the PEDs or whatever, allegedly? Every time he about to fight somebody like Ryan or Jake Paul, he gotta bring up that, oh, don't be on no PEDs. Like, why you even fighting this guy? Fight a boxer. Like, why you even fighting that guy then? He don't want to fight Terence Crawford though. He had like he can't get that same kind of bag that Turkey Al-Sheet just gave to Canelo. If Tank go over there and fight Terence Crawford, he'll get the biggest check he ever got in his life. Biggest check. Turkey Al-Sheet would have gave him the same check he gave Canelo to fight Terence Crawford. Everybody know that. That's why I don't know why everybody on Twitter talking about it like it's a real fight. Like, man, that dude could have been fought Terence Crawford. Because I already know Terence Crawford was at 135. When Terence Crawford was at 135, nobody wanted to fight him. They was definitely not trying to fight him at 135. That's why if Terence Crawford was at 135 right now, Tank wouldn't have a belt. But you can move up to fight Jake Paul though. Let me go and look at this right here. Okay, he was at 135 2014. By 2016, Terence Crawford was at 140. So in this picture with Canelo, he was at 140. 140. At the same time, Barrios is at 140. The same time Barrios was at 140. So Crawford not that big compared to other guys at that weight class. Barrios was at 140 at the same time. Oh, for real, accused of Bud or PED. Yeah, they can't say that now. They definitely can't say that now. You don't need PEDs to sit up here and beat Canelo the way you did. But yeah, a lot of guys is backwards on that because last year you had people that was saying they had like we don't got the internet. You got guys last year that was saying that PEDs don't matter. Now they talking about Terence Crawford on PEDs. Like, bro, that's not gonna work. Everybody know y'all faking it out here. Yeah, everybody trying to bring up that conversation, but they know what time it is. They know how good he is. They knew the power was gonna matter. They knew Canelo has no power no more. So they wanted to make up an excuse just in case Canelo gets stopped. Oh man, he was on PEDs. That's why they bring up stuff like that. They knew Canelo was a good chance he might get stopped. That's why a lot of guys not really surprised by what happened. They're not really surprised. They just didn't want to see it happen. Yeah, that ninth round, Bud was getting busy. I wanted to see him fight like that the whole round. Just one round, the whole round like that. But then I thought about it. Nah, he can't just stand there the whole time and, you know, risk getting caught by Canelo. So I was kind of happy that Bud was moving. Not moving around the ring, but not trying to stand in the pocket and just exchange with Canelo the whole time. He ain't throw a lot of combinations. Because against Madrimov, he was taking a lot more chances, punching a lot more. Yeah, but in this fight, he was picking his shots and not really trying to just keep throwing shot after shot after shot. I know with Madrimov, I know he threw more punches in that fight. I knew he threw more punches. I wonder how many punches that Canelo threw in this fight and how many he landed. It was a lot of times seemed like he wasn't throwing that much, but then he started throwing some combinations back and forth. He wasn't really backing down that much either. Yeah, he definitely should retire, in my opinion, though. That's what I'm looking at. I'm not really interested in him fighting guys at 160 or 68 because those guys, like I said, if it's not a scenario like that where he can just fight two guys and be an undisputed, it's not really worth it. At this point in your career, you didn't think you'll fight Canelo, then you go out there and beat him. It's time to retire. If I beat Canelo at 37, then I turn 38 the next week, and nobody thought I'd beat him, I don't know if I continue to box. But then he got Turkey Al-Sheikh, who's helping him put fights together. So it's kind of like a hard position to be in because then you got the promoter who has all the money. You said you want to have the people that can help you be promoted in boxing and known and a lot more popular. So he kind of in a hard spot right now trying to figure out if he going to stay in boxing or is he going to retire. Yeah, it's kind of hard to walk away from this situation. He said, I'm glad Bud didn't go for the stoppage of Canelo because that would be the excuse Bud on something. Yeah, exactly. That pocket work from Bud was spectacular. Movies couldn't make it look that good. Yeah, I know. They need to make a movie on his life. They need to definitely do a movie. They definitely need to do a movie. Because the way he came up in boxing, you're not gonna see a lot of people come up in boxing like that no more. Like even a lot of guys will tell you, that was in boxing back then, coming up with Terence Crawford. He wasn't somebody that was sought after like that. Man, they had Mikey Garcia and other guys signed before they had Terence Crawford signed to a deal in boxing. So he probably, if it wasn't for a couple of these guys in boxing, we probably would have never seen him before. He'd probably just be a regular guy out here. That's why boxing gotta make a couple of changes, man. They got to. If it wasn't for a Canelo or a Spence, we probably wouldn't know who Terence Crawford is. Well, I would know, as far as at this point, but talking about the whole world probably wouldn't know. He said that pocket work from Bud was spectacular. But that pocket work though, I'm gonna tell you something about that. I noticed last night, Canelo did not want to fight on the inside, man. I thought he would at least try because Crawford's arms are so long. I didn't even see Canelo. You know, Canelo usually leans back. Y'all remember when Canelo leans back and when guys throw hooks, he'll kind of like stretch his body instead of trying to step back. Man, he wasn't doing none of that last night. Canelo was stepping out the way last night. Like, for real. I couldn't even enjoy it. I'm like, bro, what is he doing? Canelo was stepping out of the way. Like, every time Crawford throw a hook, he'll just step back. Boom. He was trying to clinch. That didn't work. So he was trying to block a lot of the shots, trying to counterpunch. Just didn't work, man. It seemed like Crawford fought him 3 times already by the time they fought. Yeah, Ryan Kruger got to do one. Yeah, he got to do a movie on Crawford. I seen Christy Martin got a movie coming out that looked good. I seen the trailer. It looked good. Yeah, whoever did her movie, I got to look and see who did hers, but the one she got coming out look good. Wow, man, you said this was a good start. Yeah, it was. Yeah, you seen Canelo get lifted off the ground? Man, I got to go back and watch that fight again. Just because you said that. I got to figure out what round this dude got lifted off the ground. I seen this dude come off the ground last night. Both feet. Like both feet, man. Like he jumped out the pool or something. Yeah, I seen Canelo, both of his feet came off the ground. Yeah, I don't know what round that was, but I seen that. I said, yeah, he ain't trying to take no body shots. It was almost like what happened to Lomachenko when Devin Haney was going to the body. Loma started doing the same thing. And the way Devin did it, man, he was pretty hurt to the body, pretty bad. Oh yeah, just like J Man said, like Loma did. See, he thinking the same thing. He looked like Loma was stepping in some ants or something. Man, if y'all didn't see Canelo last night taking them body shots, please go back and look at that. That lets you know right there. He did not want to have. See, Canelo couldn't have fought no Bernard Hopkins or somebody like that. That's the kind of style Bernard would have been fighting Canelo with. He was going straight to the body. So yeah, Canelo couldn't do anything last night. That's the most impressive thing I seen from Terence Crawford. Canelo could do nothing last night. Even Earl Spence, I seen him. I told everybody. You can say what you want about Earl Spence, but nobody's going to be able to move forward like he did. When he was moving forward against Terence Crawford, everybody not going to do that. Canelo not going to do that. That Majramov guy not going to do it. That's why a lot of these fights, people talking about, they're not entertaining. That's because people are scared to walk down Terence Crawford. The last person you're gonna see walk down Terence Crawford is Earl Spence, win or lose. But it's not gonna happen. That's not something that everybody gonna do. To be honest with you, it sounds like Earl Spence got everybody spoiled because ain't nobody else trying to walk down Terence Crawford. I'm looking at all these names on the list that fought Terence Crawford. None of these guys trying to walk him down. And he got Canelo on there now. Canelo said, nope, I'm not walking him down. That man arms longer than mine. I'm good. Canelo said, I'm going to try to stretch this left hook. If this don't work, I'm going to just throw this right hand and throw this jab the rest of the fight. Then Canelo got survival mode. Canelo like, man, I'm trying to survive. He's seeing them body shots. I mean, I've never seen Canelo head snap around like that. I was making a joke about it. Well, not a joke, but I was making an example a couple of days ago. I was like, man, people always say Triple G got a chin because he got his head snapped around by Canelo. I was like, what if Canelo get his head snapped around like that? And then Terence Crawford snaps the man's head around. And people say he don't got power. It's crazy that the guy who everybody say has power got his chin tested by the guy who they say doesn't have power. It's supposed to be the opposite way around. We were supposed to see Canelo get his chin. Well, we were supposed to see Terence Crawford get his chin tested against Canelo's power, but the opposite happened. I never seen Canelo test Crawford's chin. Everything he hit him with rolled right off. Everything. But yeah, after a performance like that, Crawford can hang it up. At this point, all he's going to do is fight a bunch of guys that'll be like straight wars. Guys that's going to be naturally probably 20, 30 pounds heavier than him. Because Canelo's still a guy who moved up. I see the guy, William Skull, he's even a big guy. He was talking about moving up to 175 recently. A lot of these guys bigger than you realize. But he was talking about moving up to 175. Yeah, 168. It's a lot of names, man. That you got Caleb Plant. I don't know if Caleb Plant was coming off a win. That'll probably be something you can entertain, but I'm not gonna lie. If Caleb Plant and Charlo probably fought already, they'll probably have something at 68, but that fight never happened. PBC got to make some moves though, ASAP. I know they're trying to put something together, but they got to make some moves. They got too many guys sitting on the sideline. Hopefully we hear about Charlo fighting somebody soon. Both Charlos. Hopefully we hear some news very soon. They said that both of these guys were supposed to fight this year. So one of them already fought. We're just waiting on the other one. But yeah, at 68, I don't see nothing for Terence Crawford for real. I think he got more entertaining fights at probably 160. Yeah, Shiraz, if he was still at 160, I don't know. He might have a chance, but he lost that fight. Yeah, 160, 54. Boychuk getting beat up by Adams last night. That definitely didn't help. But yeah, if I was Crawford, I'd just entertain 160. All they got is Baccaram at 54, Xander Zayas, Ortiz. Got a few names, but tell you, once those guys start to mix it up, we ain't gonna need Terence Crawford in the mix at 154. They already not even fighting each other now. Not saying it's purposely done, but they got time to mix it up now. We seen Adams and Boychuk last night. Cullen Walsh and Fernando Vargas Jr. Yeah, 54 is a tough division though. That dude Bakary Shamak. I don't know if everybody's seen him before. Guy named Bakary Shamak. He's pretty good. Yeah, he can box a little bit. Yeah, they got Jesus Ramos. Yeah, 54 straight, but if I'm Terence Crawford, I'm fighting at 160. Then I'm heading out. Yeah, that's it. Because I think 54 and 168 in the same kind of position. Because they both been held up because of because of undisputed. So yeah, if he don't do nothing at 160, you probably gonna see him just retire. He said Canelo almost got his head taken off. Yeah, it was crazy. What you think about Vargas Jr. losing, bro? I thought that the fight went how I thought it would, but I thought that Vargas could have let his hands go a little bit more. They said his hand was broken, but I thought he could have dropped Walsh last night. I think those last two rounds, they say his hand's broken, so I don't know. But those last two rounds, I thought he could have hurt Walsh. Yeah, but Vargas, he's faster. He got better defense. He's kind of a better puncher, but he don't know how to use it. So Walsh kind of a better puncher, but I think Vargas just needs some experience though. He only got like what 17 fights. That's not a lot of fights for him because he seemed like he's still kind of rusty, but he's been getting better from what I've seen. He's not one of the best at 154, but he's kind of like on that level of he's still good, like how Tim Tszyu little brother is. They're not beating like elite guys, but they beat some guys that got a name. But I think the fight with him and Walsh was good last night. They kind of both on the same level. Yeah, he just needs some more fights though. He's been fighting a lot more recently, but he ain't been fighting that much. Because if you look at it, Vargas was just fighting 6-round fights last year. And then ever since he started fighting 8-round fights, he got a knockout in the first round. Then he got a fifth round stoppage. So he ain't really had that many rounds. He's only had 55 rounds in 18 fights. So he's basically fought what five 10 rounders. It's not a lot of fights. That man only got 55 rounds. So yeah, he needs some more. And Walsh has 61 rounds, and he only has 15 fights, and he's 24. Like Xander Zayas, he's 23. He got 112 rounds at 23 years old. He has 100. He has 112 rounds, and Vargas only got like 55 at 28. So yeah, he got to get some more rounds. If you don't get no rounds, like J-Man said, gonna be manufactured because right now it looks a lot like manufactured. When you only got 55 rounds, he gonna end up getting beat up because he going against guys who got what 100 rounds, 200 rounds. Yeah, you got some guys that got 200 rounds in boxing at 154. So yeah, Vargas gotta get them rounds in. You say he knocking somebody out at 160? Yeah, he getting somebody out of there at 160. He is. I think he can knock all them guys out at 160. That's why I say 160 will actually be good. They got more of a name at 160. That might not be believable, but them guys got a name at 160. Yeah, all them guys got a name. I think that's the best position. They closer to age, closer to size. Yeah, they ain't ready for no title shot. I would still do that fight with them and Keyshawn Davis, them brother though. You know, Top Rank they got rid of Keyshawn Davis, them brother, from what I've seen allegedly. But it would have been good if Top Rank would have did a Vargas brothers versus Davis brothers, but that last fight they had ruined everything. But yeah, they didn't do fights like that. Fight some guys that's like on the prospect level. They definitely do. I missed that guy fight last night. The prospect that's with Team Canelo, Eddie Reynoso. I seen him fighting that guy with a bald head last night. I don't know how well he was doing, but they were saying that might have been an early stoppage. What's up, QT? QT said Crawford probably leaving 168 because they see Lester is right there after that and Billy fight. Oh no, QT, Lester is Terence Crawford's fighter. So you know he was always gonna move out the way anyways. Yeah, Lester Martinez is Terence Crawford's fighter, so he was always gonna move out the way. He's not gonna fight his own stablemate. Yeah, Martinez has always been a dog though. I'm glad his performance was actually good. I thought he was actually a little bit lackluster last night. Because Martinez only fought like once in the last year and a half. I think Martinez fought one fight since April 2024, I think. Yeah, he hasn't fought that much. If he would have fought a little bit more, you probably would have seen Martinez stopping Billy. I'm gonna be honest with you. I thought Billy was beating up Martinez bad, but when the fight was over, it looked like Billy was hurt more than he was. And I thought Billy could have won the fight. But man, he took a beating in that fight. And then I seen the boxers on Twitter talking about he looked like he was a lot more hurt than people realize. But yeah, Lester Martinez, he's with Team Crawford though. But yeah, if he looked like that last night, that's definitely impressive because he hasn't fought that much. That's why I think the fight was as close as it was, but it was still gonna be a close fight regardless. Because then Billy is no joke. And he was throwing the best shots last night, the best punches. Um, yeah, and Billy was throwing the best punches last night. And I was going for Martinez too. He just wasn't in shape like that. You could tell he was kind of winded, pacing himself, and Billy was just fighting. And Martinez, he fights a little more aggressive than that. Like the way Billy fights, that's the way Martinez fights. Yeah, he faded quick. He always fades. But in Billy, what I liked about Billy last night, he would only fade for like half a round, and then he'll step back to Martinez again. I was like, okay. Yeah, I like that about Billy last night. His gas tank was definitely impressive last night. He didn't take off a whole round until like after the sixth round, probably. But yeah, he was taking off half a round, probably 1 minute, and he was back to throwing big punches. That's why I said Martinez, he didn't step on the gas like that. But you can only do so much when you fought once in a year and a half. He probably thought he could hit that next gear, and it never happened. Because when you look at the punches that Martinez was throwing, you could tell that he's probably a better puncher than Billy, but not last night. And that was a good fight too. A lot of people said that was gonna be fight of the night before the fight happened. Brandon Adams and Volchuk was a good fight. Um, Volchuk was taking some hard shots in that fight. Yeah, it was a lot of body shots last night guys was throwing that started to add up after round after round after round. Like J Man was saying earlier, I forgot Canelo Crawford had Canelo lifting his legs up. Then you had Brandon Adams. Volchuk was grabbing around his waist. Yeah, the body work was crazy last night. Then you had Martinez. He was getting hit pretty bad with some body shots. I thought Martinez could have threw more uppercuts earlier because then Billy he was just hunching over the whole time. Martinez he should have thrown more uppercuts. The only punch I've seen and Billy get hurt with was an uppercut. Yeah, but Martinez, he got a mean uppercut. I was like, man, for him not to throw that uppercut just to see what it'll do to M. Billy, he definitely let him off the hook. But yeah, dude's a problem though. He's definitely a problem. The way he fights, yeah, he's entertaining for sure. That's crazy. That's one of the worst performances I've seen from him, but everybody impressed. I mean, he definitely is as good as I thought he was. Because that was probably in Billy's best performance I've seen from him. His last fight was a first round stoppage, but to go the distance, that's probably the best fight I've seen from him so far. I can't even lie. I had a feeling he was going to do that too. He's been getting better. I think he's still young, like Martinez. I think he's younger than Martinez is. But he's fought better competition. But they may fight again. That was a draw. They're both going to be at 168. Canelo has made 168 a strong division. For him not fighting guys a lot over the years, that division is jam-packed. There's a lot of guys at 168. That's why even if Shiraz doesn't fight Canelo, he still has a lot of names he can fight. He can fight Pacheco right now. Yeah, he can fight him right now. There's a few names he can fight at 68. Yeah, I definitely want to see what the move is going to be at that weight class. But I think with Crawford, he's done enough, man. That card last night was good, but he's done enough. They know right now that he's the best boxer in the game right now. It's not a lot of names you can put with him. And to have him go to another division and try to jump around wouldn't make a lot of sense. A lot of people trying to say Canelo not an all-time great. He definitely is still one of the greatest fighters of this era. The man been a threat. Crawford is the first three-division undisputed champion since Henry Armstrong in 1938. That ain't happened in almost 100 years. You say you feel bad for Volchuk. He got messed over by the WBC when they passed him over to give Fundora a title shot against Tim Tszyu. Yeah, then he had that Virgil Ortiz fight where people thought he won. Then he was supposed to fight Majramal. Majramal pulled out of that fight, ended up fighting Ortiz. Then he ended up fighting Michael Fox, got beat up in that fight. and then came in overweight. Yeah, Bochuk had a weird last 12 months, to be honest with you. The last 12 months has been weird. Then he got to fight the guy who knocked him out. Yeah, I do. I feel bad for him that he getting put in a lot of weird positions. Yeah, that's kind of odd. I'm not gonna lie. Very odd. Yeah, the only people I've seen in weird positions like that is probably him and Sandor Martin. Yeah, him and Sandor Martin. But that was a good fight last night, man. At 154, everybody gonna have a fight like that. That's a lot of guys at 154 that Boychuk and a lot of other people can't beat. He said Canelo's still a great fighter. Yeah, he's still a great fighter. Yeah, everybody not gonna beat him up like that. Yeah, Canelo been boxing a long time. He's definitely gonna be all right. Yeah, it's a lot of people that just can't handle Canelo in the ring like Terence Crawford can, and most people know that too. That's why it's kind of hard to find a name. I know people say Hamza Shiraz. I mean, that's a new guy that popped up at 68. He only got one fight at 68, and he's 26 years old. Hamza Shiraz like the youngest guy at 168, besides Pacheco. And they're gonna try to stick him in front of Terence Crawford. I'm gonna be honest with you though. If you look at Shiraz's fight against Ammo Williams, he don't need to get in the ring with Terence Crawford. And I like Shiraz. I think he a beast, but his inside fighting ain't like that. Yeah, his inside fighting ain't like that. Yeah, 168 is tricky though. You had Caleb Plant just lose to a guy. You got the guy that Jaime Munguia fought at 168, who he lost to the 160, he got knocked out by. Yeah, you got some guys that can make some noise. Caleb Plant still down there. But Steven Nelson getting upset by Santana over the weekend yesterday. I'm not gonna lie to y'all. I thought this was a possibility he can get upset because this Santana guy got some power. He like a uh he's like a big version of Edwin De Los Santos. He's not gonna go out there and outbox everybody, but like the dude, matter of fact, the guy Santana who knocked out he didn't knock him out, but he hurt Steven Nelson. He fought Lester Martinez and that guy Daniel Blancas who's with Team Benavidez. He fought Truck Simpson. So I seen the guy fight a couple times. I was like, oh man, he can end up stopping Steven Nelson. Not outboxing him, but possibly hurting him. And went out there and hurt him in the first round. Yeah, that's why I didn't mess with that fight. I was gonna do a prediction, but I was like, man, I ain't got no time to be studying. I think Nelson might have some trouble. So I left it alone. Yeah, Nelson lost, man. First round. First round went out there and got stopped. First round. Ain't that crazy? It was a weird stoppage. I thought that he got stopped. I thought the stoppage was too early. But then I went back and played it slow mo while it was live. Because it was on the prelim. So I was playing it on YouTube. And he got hurt like 4 times to the head. Like the first time the guy hit him, his leg started to like, his legs was wobbly a little bit. And this was like in the minute and a half mark. And then when it got to the 45-second mark, he started getting hurt bad. He got hit with a shot. Then he kind of went out. That was the second time he got hurt. Then he got hit. He got hit to the chin, and then he went out a little bit. Then that's the third time. And then when he went to the corner, he almost fell. He got hurt for the fourth time. So the ref called it. I didn't agree with it because I haven't seen him hurt that much. But when you get hurt to the head 4 times, probably a good time to call the fight. So I think the referee did the right thing. Because I think the first punch actually hurt Nelson. He just didn't recover. It wasn't no chinny punch. He got caught on like the forehead or something. Yeah, he got caught on the forehead. So once I seen that, I said, what? I looked at his legs. I was like, oh, why is his legs going like that? I said, I don't know if he's hurt. Because, he just fought Pacheco. So I didn't know if he still has some lingering effects or what. But I was like, nah, I don't think he's hurt like that. And yeah, he was definitely hurt. Definitely was. That dude Santana got some power. Somebody should have told him going into that fight, hey, this guy Santana you fighting. And Lester Martinez. Him and Lester Martinez is on the team together. And I don't know if Lester was on the team with Steven Nelson back when he fought Santana, but that was in 2021. But he should have told him, hey, this guy right here is dangerous. He got some power. Doesn't seem like he got a lot of power because he only got 7 knockouts and 13 wins and 4 losses. So he only got a 50% knockout rate, and he got 4 losses, never been stopped. So it doesn't seem like he got power on paper, but the dude got power, though. But Steven Nelson said that the dude was dangerous, though. He said, man, this dude dangerous. Oh, yeah, definitely. 3 generations of it. They don't want to talk about that. 3 generations. And you got Devin Haney now with the Brian Norman fight coming up. Yeah, they definitely don't want to talk about that. And they skipped over Andre Ward too, Jay, man, because with the whole Canelo era, whatever they call that, they went from Andre Ward to Canelo. They pushed it to Canelo. That's why they brought in Triple G. They had Canelo fighting everybody from American. They had Canelo fighting American, Triple G, and then Kovalev. Like, bro, come on, man. You ain't trying to leave no opponents for nobody. And they're like, he's trying to fight everybody. Nah, he's picking. And I'm gonna put some videos out later on to where Marquez recently, he was saying that Canelo was picking his opponents and the sanctioning bodies was helping him. Marcel Suleiman came out for the WBC last week and said that Marquez was jealous of Canelo because of what he's did and the championships he's won. And Marquez was like, I'm not even jealous. And no matter how many championships he's won, I feel like I done still done more in boxing than like guys like him or other guys. Kept it a buck though. So I gotta show everybody about that. But Marquez, I know he at home right now smiling. Because they were mad at all kind of Mexican people last week talking about Canelo. And Marquez was one of them. He said he tired of people showing Canelo privilege. And Terence Crawford said something too I want people to hear about that I found out about today. Terence Crawford was talking about Canelo Alvarez, him in boxing. And he was saying people got to realize that Canelo's been getting help. He's been professional since he was 15. That means he had money behind him when he was in the amateurs. He's had money behind him since back then. He said, I haven't been getting that. as far as that kind of push and people putting their support behind me and their money behind me to make sure I'm successful or anything else. But when you think about it, he's right. Canelo was able to go pro at 15 years old. 15 years old, he was able to go pro. A lot of people will say that doesn't mean you have money. It's not a lot of guys over here in America going pro at 15 and getting financial support. No, that's not happening. If it was easy to go pro, everybody would do it. So yeah, when Terence Crawford said that, it definitely made sense. But he said, I haven't had to push like Canelo has, where ever since I was 15, I've had support behind me to push my pro career. Just haven't been like that. I haven't. He had to get everything he can get. The QT said Marquez ain't lying. The WBC created the franchise belt to allow Canelo and Loma to not fight mandates. Yeah, Wildman said it's pretty young. Yeah, that's crazy. That a lot of people don't realize how we even got here in boxing. Those guys weren't fighting a lot of people. That's why it's so much responsibility on a lot of those guys at the weight classes that Canelo or Loma was at when they had the franchise belts. Like 54 and 35 is not making a lot of sense. Definitely not making a lot of sense. And Suleiman talking about somebody jealous. That's why Turkey Al-Sheikh and a lot of these guys trying to get away from these sanctioning bodies. The only mandatory they're trying to force is William Skull. Not Benavidez, but William Skull. That's why after a while you got to realize, man, boxing ain't really getting pushed in the right direction right now. Got to make some changes. And they're definitely ready to make some changes. They definitely ready to make some changes. I think they want to see a guy like Terence Crawford in the position as face of boxing because there's not people putting together big fights right now. Right now, Majamal versus Crawford is considered a big fight. Spence versus Crawford, Canelo versus Crawford. These are big fights. The fight Benavidez got coming up is a big one. Haney. It's only a select few names putting together big fights. Usyk. Yeah, these guys ain't trying to put themselves out there to be. They ain't trying to be excellent like J-Man said, man. They ain't putting themselves out there like that. Because with Canelo, it would have made a lot of sense if he would have fought Andre Ward besides Kovalev. That's like Terence Crawford fighting Berlanga or Munguia instead of Canelo. Just doesn't make sense. Yeah, he definitely didn't want no smoke with Andre Ward. There's a lot of fighters that move around Andre Ward. If Andre Ward would have fought Canelo and Triple G, it would have been a different kind of era in boxing. Matter of fact, what's the guys that Canelo has on his resume that Andre Ward could have fought? Yeah, Andre Ward, they could have had some good fights, man. Andre Ward versus a guy like Bivol. They could have made them fights earlier. They had Cullum Smith. Yeah, they could have had Andre Ward in that same position, but they wanted to move him out the way. And then Terence Crawford. I'm telling you, when people look back, they're gonna realize, man, Canelo was in the way the whole time. Canelo was in the way in Terence Crawford's era and Andre Ward. He was in the way. Once he fought Amir Khan, and then he fought uh Kovalev, he was in the way. It's like, man, you fought Amir Khan and Kovalev. What's the point? And by the time he fought Kovalev, he still went undisputed. So you going from 54 to 75, no undisputed. But that was just so he can get a win over somebody that Andre Ward already beat. And the way he knocked out Kovalev made it look worse. That's why I was like, Kovalev, how did you get knocked out by this dude? Yeah, we need the big fights, man. That's why I'm glad they're going in this direction. Netflix did a good job, but could have did a lot better. But they've been doing a good job with their fights. But they're going in a nice direction, man, with these fights. Seems like Netflix getting serious. They got a whole sports section now. They're getting serious with these boxing fights. I heard Netflix is going to be doing 3 to 4 fights every year. I don't know if they're going to have another one this year, but I've heard they're going to do another boxing event possibly in November. But then with Dana White's fights, I heard that they're going to start in January. That's what I've been hearing. But yeah, if y'all want to see some good interviews, I'm gonna try to repost them. Dana White had some interviews that was on Club Shay Shay. I think Caleb Plant had some that was on there. Man, some boxers was dropping some good details on some things that's going on out here. I'm gonna try to keep y'all updated though. Canelo had the clout of that 11 fight the zone deal. All the sanctions wanted some of that bread, bro. Hey, that's a good point, QT. I forgot about that. They seen that deal, how much it was. They was like, man, that was a lot of money too. That was a lot of money, and that was when the zone had first got created. That was a lot of money. That was when Hulu started getting a lot of business. Cause for some reason I had like Hulu, ESPN Plus, and Disney Plus for like some insane kind of deal. Yeah, I didn't even know I had Hulu. Then I had went and got the zone. Yeah, Canelo went and got an insane deal. That's why the sanctioning body stepped in like that. Yeah, that's a great point. They seen that big deal. They was like, man, who was paying this guy? What's up, Albert? Alberto G. You said Floyd is 48 years old. I would pick him to beat Crawford now. What, Floyd? Nah, Floyd couldn't even beat Pacquiao right now. And I rock with Floyd. No, Floyd couldn't even beat Pacquiao right now. I think uh Alberto, I think after we seen Manny Pacquiao not even try to get in the ring with Terence Crawford, that kind of answered all the questions for me. I'm not even gonna lie to you. Manny Pacquiao said, "Nah, I'm not even trying to fight this Terence Crawford guy. Give me Keith Thurman, Barrios, Ugas. I know those are PVC guys, but I didn't ask for Terence Crawford when I was over there with Bob. So give me that's how Manny Pacquiao looking at it. So the fact that Manny Pacquiao don't really want no smoke with Terence Crawford, you know, it's only so much I can say about that. But the fact that he don't want to fight him like that, it's just it lets you know what how good Crawford really is. Honestly, because I never seen Pacquiao really circle around any fighters. Like Pacquiao hasn't fought Canelo, but I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't think Pacquiao didn't fight Canelo because he's scared. Probably found out how much he really weigh. But I don't think Pacquiao didn't fight Canelo because he's scared of him or something like that. I just think they ain't fight. But in the case of Terence Crawford, he didn't want to fight Terence Crawford. Yeah, Manny was gonna fight all the PBC guys, but Bob and Aaron said no to Crawford. They like, oh no, sir. Bob like, nah, I heard what Tim said about the Crawford guy, and not gonna throw him in there with the Crawford kid. I've heard he's been beating up guys in sparring, so yeah, Bob wasn't gonna make that happen. Bob definitely wasn't gonna make that happen. It's funny how Bob does things because Bob had that fight lined up with Kim Bosas and T.O. Then T.O. had to fight, go over to Triller. And then it went from Triller to the zone, and then T.O. lose. Bob ended up getting Kim Bosas, setting up Haney. So yeah, that's kind of how I'm looking at what Bob would have done. Oh, happy Sunday to everybody, yeah. But yeah, and I like Pacquiao, but if it's anybody Pacquiao ducked, I would have to guess and say it's Terence Crawford. And I'm not somebody who throws a duck word out there like that. But if it's anybody that Pacquiao definitely is ducking right now, or not right now because he's out of range, but ever in his career, it was Terence Crawford. I don't even think he ever even discussed Terence Crawford before. Terence Crawford, and then a lot of people don't even ask him about Terence. Yeah, a lot of people never even asked him to get in the ring. Yeah, it doesn't even seem like a fight that Manning was ever looking for. Terence Crawford said that, yeah, but he did say some stuff about Manning where he was like, Manning possibly was on something though. But this is what Crawford had said. He said, I was real disappointed not getting that fight. We were 2 days from securing the fight. A lot of things happened. Manny Pacquiao side lied to us. It's a bunch of things and reasons why that fight didn't happen. Man, that fight didn't even happen. And it was 2 days from securing the fight. Pacquiao did not want to get in the ring with that guy. He said, "Bob, get that WBO belt back before you leave." You said Floyd about to whoop on Mike Tyson. I don't know if that fight happens or not. I know they talked about it during another thing too. I'm glad you brought that up. I hope they could talk about a lot of these fights they were talking about before Canelo and Crawford fought. We're gonna see what happens over the next 7 days, but I don't like when people put out all this news about certain fights during a big fight week, and then after the fight happens, the news doesn't come out no more. I don't like that. Yeah, I don't like how they did that. It was a lot of fights they was putting out there that never been discussed. Like Floyd and Mike Tyson. I'm like, where did that come from? That came out of nowhere. But that's something they just put out there and made it seem like it was signed. And yeah, a lot of these fights they've been putting out there over the last couple of weeks, it made it seem like it was signed, but I don't even think they're in the discussions or negotiations. You said Mike too old? Yeah, man. I didn't like how Floyd looked his last fight either against Gotti. Yeah, he looked pretty bad in that fight. And Floyd was already losing a step in the McGregor fight. You can kind of tell. Yeah, but in this situation, man, he don't need to step in the ring with that guy. It's not a real fight in my eyes, especially after you finally got Canelo stepping in the ring with some people that the fans want to see. Yeah, you don't want to take things in that direction. I think they just put the fight up there to see how much attraction they'll get, how much the fans will get excited about it. But Floyd put out a few fights last year that didn't happen. He was supposed to fight Victor Ortiz last year. Then he ended up fighting Gotti, so I don't know. It's a lot of weird things. He was supposed to fight Pacquiao again already. Then they're saying that fight was already signed. They made it seem like those guys were going to fight in like one or two fights. And for some reason, the talks about them fighting was actually getting a lot more serious recently. I'm like, man, this Pacquiao stuff is serious about Floyd. But yeah, that's the only reason why a lot of people look at the Mayweather and Crawford situation, and it's kind of hard to compare or say who's better. But Terence Crawford has legit said that Manny Pacquiao is scared of him and running, allegedly. And Crawford admitted recently that what's his name? Freddie Roach didn't want Pacquiao to fight Terence Crawford. And think about this now. Crawford said back as far as 2014. Listen to this. Hey, listen to this, y'all. I gotta talk about this probably tomorrow. In 2014, Terence Crawford was in negotiations with Pacquiao. 2014. Yeah, Manny Pacquiao gonna fight again. He's gonna fight again. He definitely is. Hold on, I want to go back real quick. I don't want to be Manny Pacquiao fought Tim Bradley 2014 the second time. The second time Manny Pacquiao fought Tim Bradley, that was in 2014. Then he fought Chris Algieri. Then Pacquiao fought Floyd. He fought Bradley after Floyd, Vargas, Jeff Horn. Now, all throughout that time, they was talking about Terence Crawford possibly fighting this guy. And look, 2 years later on this picture I got up here, Terence Crawford was sitting next to Canelo in 2016. So when we say guys is getting ducked, it got to be a serious duck. It can't be like something where, a guy got a possibility of fighting somebody. He's mad because he didn't get this one fight. No, we're talking about Crawford was on the same side with Pacquiao, Tim Bradley, all those guys, because he got the connections through Tim Bradley, other people. And Pacquiao was an option since 2014. They never fought. Then in 2016, he's hanging out with Serrano and Canelo with a broke arm. This was in 2016 when he was with Canelo on this picture. So think about this, man. I just want to say this to everybody. We could have been talking about Terence Crawford the way we are now since 2014. Wow. I'll put it this way. The way that Vargas and the dude Cullen Walsh was just on the co-main event for Pacquiao, not Pacquiao, but for Terence Crawford and Canelo. Terence Crawford could have been on the undercard of Pacquiao versus Floyd. He was already known around that time. He was already known around that time. That's why they did the undercard the way they did it on this one. Because they want to put some guys on there that actually are not known like that. But 2014, man, we could have been talking about Terence Crawford as a possible face of boxing or a guy who could have been replacing Floyd Mayweather ever since then. But these people was playing politic games, and they was kind of, shadow banning people a little bit. Because Adrian Bronner was a name that was talked about heavy around that time. Tim Bradley. You had Jesse Vargas, Chris Algieri. You had Chris Algieri around and Lucas Matisse. You had a lot of people around. They knew who Terence Crawford was. So the man's been getting ducked since the Mayweather era. When Floyd then was running around fighting, they knew who he was already. Canelo and everybody. This man is probably the most ducked fighter in the last 20 years. Probably since Andre Ward. I ain't gonna say 20 years, probably since Andre Ward. But him and Andre Ward is kind of hand in hand, is because Canelo kind of took away the shine from both of those guys just from fighting their opponents. Fighting similar opponents or guys they could have fought. J-Man said when you look back on it, Bud staying with Bob was a good move. Actually was. Facts. You know how you know that's true, J-Man? Because everybody say Keisha messed up a good opportunity with Bob. People compliment Emiliano Vargas over there with Top Rank. Abdullah Mason's getting some credit over there. Loma never got any complaints of him being on Top Rank his whole career. I know he was on HBO, but I'm talking about after that. So Loma didn't really get any kind of complaints. So everybody knows it's a good move. Most people agree with you. because they never told Loma, hey, you need to leave Bob to get a fight. So most people know that staying with Bob was a good idea for Terence Crawford. It was a good idea for Floyd at the time that Floyd was doing it. Yeah, he was getting real work, bro. Real work. He really was. He was getting real work. And the crazy thing is, what I'm talking about now kind of ties into the whole Bob thing. He was fighting real guys while everybody was sitting around. That's why they like when he left, because they're like, oh, he's not fighting anybody. He's fighting one time a year. See, when Crawford was over there with Bob, they weren't worried about his activity. But as soon as he went over there with Bob and started having a lot of activity and a lot of fights, that's when it became a problem, because his name started getting bigger. He started fighting on ESPN Plus. He had those fights with Amir Khan, Kell Brook, and Jeff Horn. After that, he was kind of hard to hold back. But by the time he fought Jeff Horn, he should have already been a household name. Yeah, they broke a lot of talent. Yeah, they have been cooking them. Especially with that activity, man. These dudes ain't active at all. I've seen so many guys at PBC. They have some good fights at PBC. They have some very good fights. But a lot of those guys, they get paid good, and they get to have some fights, on a big platform. But a lot of times, their careers get messed up fighting only once a year. It's not worth it. It's definitely not worth it. That's not the way boxing should be right now. That goes on way too much. Fighting once a year is crazy. That's why they need a turkey out of Sheik in boxing, because every fight don't have to be a pay-per-view fight, man. Every fight does not have to be pay-per-view. It just doesn't. And they said that too. A lot of people have said things about the system and everything that was going on over the last few years, how it's changing. But yeah, Top Rank been doing a good job, especially when they got Abdullah Mason and Shushu Carrington and all those guys the last 2 or 3 years. Well, longer than that, 3 or 4 years. They've been doing a very good job. They getting back to grabbing American talent. They was trying to do the whole, grab European fighters and grab the other kind of fighters. I forgot. I'm trying to think of all kind of fighters. It was getting Japanese fighters as well. Japanese fighters and the Mexican fighters. But Bob realized he ain't got no American talent on his roster. He had Shakur and Terence Crawford, but Shakur was only over there because of, I want to say, Jay Prince and Andre Ward. So he really got lucky in the beginning. If it wasn't for Shakur and Terence Crawford, I think Bob wouldn't have had as much talent as he has now. But he's still signing guys, though. He knows how to sign them. A lot of people don't want to put value in American fighters, so it's always a chance for Bob to go in there and sign anybody. He's always going to be able to go up to a guy and be like, hey, they ain't paying you right. The guy going to be like, nope, well, I'll pay you this. You'll be able to fight on this, and we'll be able to have you fighting on the regular. Like, cool, that's cool with me. So most of these guys, they just want to fight a lot of times, and they want to get paid. When you go to these other places, I don't know, you might fight a lot, but you might not get paid a certain way. You might get paid a certain way, but you might not fight a lot. So you got to choose. Yeah, on the zone, allegedly, might get paid a certain way, but you're gonna be fighting a lot. Yeah, Devin ended that. He was like, "Yeah, it's over." Bob ain't been back to Australia since. Bob let Eddie Hearn get all that Australian talent now. He had an experiment with Cambosis. You remember he got mad with that situation with Josh Taylor when they had that Josh Taylor fight with Catterall. That's what really got him mad then. That Josh Taylor Catterall fight got him mad. Well, Bob said something insane a couple of days ago. He's such a hater. He said recently that it don't matter if Terence Crawford or Canelo win, that Inoue still gonna be a better pound for pound fighter than both of those guys. I was like, man, this dude tripping. He trying to promote. He trying to promote his fighter anyways. But Bob also said recently that he'll sign Terence Crawford if he had a chance. He would still sign Terence Crawford right now. I'm like, I know you would. He said, I would sign Terence Crawford right now. Oh yeah, they back him hard now. They didn't think that was gonna happen. Yeah, after that knockout went viral. Yeah, J-Man, when they seen that knockout go viral, oh yeah, they started going crazy. They was doing it. They was doing a little bit around the time where he got the belt with. They was gonna put him in the ring with T.O. though. That's why if T.O. would have fought him already, this fight with him and Haney would be a big fight right now. I'm talking about it's a big fight, but if he would have came off a win with T.O., this would be a huge fight. But this is still gonna be a big fight though. That's gonna be the next big fight. I ain't gonna be disrespectful because I know Fundora and Keith Thurman fighting. That's gonna be a big fight too. They got a lot of big fights coming up. But yeah, Keith Thurman and Fundora fighting. Or Shaq Foster, those guys. After that fight card, I think the biggest fight might be. Oh yeah, they're gonna have Virgil Ortiz and Lubin. Yeah, you got Conor Ben, but yeah, that Haney and Norman fight card gonna be crazy. I keep forgetting they got Bam on there. Yeah, anyway, boy, the last one, hey, they had a guy this morning, J Man. Every time I'm watching the fight card, dog, they got a Mexican that's going over there to Japan, taking the belt. They had a guy today, a Mexican fighter today, taking away a belt from a Japanese fighter. Every time I'm watching the fight card, they got a guy stealing the belt. Yeah, he definitely their last hope. Nah, I think kind of from what I heard, it sounds like they leaning towards Nakatani. But yeah, anyway, definitely their last hope right now. And Turkey Al-Sheikh got that other guy. What's his name? Suzumi. He look like he pretty straight though. He got some hands. Yeah, Bob wish he had Terence Crawford right now, bro. Y'all don't know how bad Bob Aaron wish he has Terence Crawford. People just don't understand. He definitely wish he had Terence Crawford right now because the fighters he could have coming to top rank right now because of Terence Crawford would be an insane number. it's already kind of, you know, weird with him being around with Keyshawn after the situation with him and Top Rank. So Top Rank don't really like that stuff, probably allegedly. Of Terence Crawford still being around, having some influence. Yeah, he wish he had Haney right now. Bob was eating over there with Haney. That's why I'm like, last year when Bob was like, ain't nobody trying to give Haney a fight. But Bob was over there. He was happy when Haney was over there doing them little small deals. Bro, I'm not a guy who watched money like that. When Haney fought Kambosos, he wasn't really making like $30 million or nothing. But when he fought Kambosos and took that small deal, I'm like, okay, this ain't normal. Guys don't usually do that. Even though he was a young guy and wasn't making like the buku money like Canelo or somebody. I'm like, hey, I don't know. He's taking a deal that nobody would really take. So I'm like, okay, Bob gonna be loyal to you know, a guy who's taking a small deal like that. Man, Bob was like, man, this dude, nobody wants to fight him or pay for one of his fights. He's boring. Yeah, allegedly. But that's crazy that Bob was commenting on the first bid situation with Haney and people not wanting to put money up for it. But you made all kind of money off the fights with Kambosos. The fights with Haney and Kambosos was so good. The dude did 2 fights in Australia. They did the first fight and the second fight. Then he comes around and makes Haney fight Lomachenko, and that fight ended up being fight of the year because they still talk about that fight. That fight was fight of the year at that time. Around that time, I don't know what other fight came on, unless it was Spence and Crawford that came on that year. But the way they talked about Loma and Devin Haney, that was the most talked about fight. They still talking about that fight. If they talk about any fight Devin Haney has right now, they probably talk about Loma versus Haney more than they talk about Haney versus Ryan Garcia. And Bob had all that attention from that fight. We had rappers. Everybody was reacting to the results. That was like the biggest fight Bob done had on ESPN in a minute. So yeah, I don't know why he was reacting that way with Terence Crawford or Devin Haney when he's saying that these guys can't sell and I could have bought a house in Beverly Hills. I'm like, yeah, he's tripping. That dude power tripping for real. When you've had champions your whole career and you used to guy making champions, sometimes you go power trip. Yeah, that definitely was a power trip though. I'm like, man, I don't know if you know it or not, but it's not a lot of Terence Crawford walking around. And around that same time, Dana White was already asking Bob to let me work with Terence Crawford. So it's a lot of things that Terence Crawford had to sit back and wait on. I don't know if they was waiting on Terence Crawford to let Canelo finish doing what he was doing, but it seems like that way with him and Andre Ward. Andre Ward and Terence Crawford could have been doing what Terence Crawford and Shakur or Devin Haney's doing right now. Andre Ward would have been dominating the higher divisions, and Terence Crawford was dominating the lower divisions. But it got to a point where they was like, nope, we're not going to give you Loma. Because if they wanted to, if Turkey Al-Sheikh was around back then, they could have made Terence Crawford fight Loma. They said, we're not going to give you Loma, and we're not going to give Andre Ward Triple G, and we're not going to give him Canelo. As long as we do that, those guys could be big names.
That's why some things I see, I gotta point out because I'm like, man, I wasn't keeping up with all this stuff back then. I wasn't day to day with boxing like that. When I was watching boxing in 2014, I was learning like about jabs and stuff like that. Like to be real, I wasn't learning about like business or nothing like that. So I don't know what was going on back then. So sometimes I will go back and look and try to figure out, okay, why was this going on? Because you don't know where you're at unless you know where you came from. So in boxing, I gotta know where things came from and why it's the way it is right now. And Terence Crawford is one of the most duck guys I've seen, man. Andre Ward's up there too, but Andre Ward didn't have divisions where he was going across, and Terence Crawford's in the premier divisions like 135, 140, 47. Those are the money makers these days. So for him not to have a lot of big names on his resume, then to have a lot of those big names be pushed harder than him on the same platform, whether it's Pacquiao, Lomachenko. Yeah, that was wild, man. 2014, this man was in negotiations with Manny Pacquiao. That is a long time. You was in negotiations with Manny Pacquiao in 2014, but you ain't get a fight with Canelo till 2025. Talk about waiting until your turn. That's why I got to give Earl Spence credit. If Earl Spence wouldn't have fought Terence Crawford, this probably wouldn't be happening right now with Terence Crawford being the undisputed champion at 47 or 68 because he's already been waiting a long time. And after the Earl Spence fight, he was already saying, I'm probably just gonna retire. No options. I can fight Bruce Ennis, but it ain't gonna put me as an all-time great, so might as well hang it up. That man was already waiting 11 years to fight just a name. And the biggest name he could find was a guy who was younger than him that somehow surpassed him while he was waiting on a big opportunity like Pacquiao or somebody. So to be honest with you, Terence Crawford is really a real nice guy, to be honest with you. He has to be. It's a lot of guys that passed him. Adrian Bronner was getting opportunities with Manny Pacquiao and everybody. He had to sit back and watch it. That man was in negotiations with Pacquiao before Bronner was. And Bronner ended up in the ring with him. That's a face of boxing, man. I'm telling you. I watched how Floyd was since he was in the Olympics till now. Terence Crawford didn't have nothing easy. Every time he had to fight somebody, he had to prove himself. Whether it was sparring Tim Bradley or whether it was the amateurs growing up. A lot of these guys knowing that he's one of the best, but he's not in the pros. You got boxers that was happy that he wasn't in the pros. Terence Crawford not in the pros, so I can get a big check. I ain't got to worry about that Crawford guy. Everybody know he good, but I ain't got to worry about him. He the best fighter we got in America, but dude kind of a hothead, man. He ain't gonna make it. So that's the way they was looking at things. So when people try to compare, oh, well, Canelo, he got it out of this, so he had to struggle. Man, Canelo ain't struggled like this. Canelo had a Floyd Mayweather fight in the beginning. That man had a Floyd Mayweather fight in the beginning. That's why Terence Crawford said that man had opportunities I didn't have. He was getting financed as a pro at 15, getting support as a professional at 15 years old. Man, y'all know in America, a high school student can't even get support like that if you're on a football team or whatever. So for a guy to be boxing trying to get some support at 15, yeah, you had plenty of help. Trust me. You weren't struggling like that. Terence Crawford, like, man, if guys is going turning professional at 15, I want to struggle like that too. Give me that kind of opportunity. I ain't heard of nobody being poor like that. Shoot, some of the guys I know, they so poor they ain't got time to play no sports. Talking about turning pro, man, please. At 15, you might go get a job, and that's the position Terence Crawford was in. And he had a child early, so come on, man, that was already a struggle. Yeah, shout out to Earl. Earl made this happen. He definitely made that happen. That's why I told people this weekend. I said, "Hey, man, Canelo ain't Earl Spence. Earl Spence ain't Superman, but everybody ain't finna beat up Earl Spence like y'all seen Terence Crawford do it." Yeah, everybody's not finna walk down Terence Crawford like that ever again. He'll be an old man by the time he get walked down the way Earl Spence did. Like these guys, I'm gonna tell you the truth though. These guys are so scared to fight the way that Earl Spence fought Terence Crawford that a lot of people don't even say, "Hey, Canelo should have fought him." They didn't want Canelo to fight him the way that Earl Spence did because they know it was too scary. Nobody will fight Terence Crawford like that. And I had to notice that probably a couple of months ago. I said, man, I can't even be mad at Earl. Like, nobody would fight Terence Crawford like this. And Canelo proves, nope, I don't care if I'm 168, 75. I'm not going to fight him like Earl Spence did. Yeah, and Earl Spence was actually walking forward after he got dropped. That's different than boxing, man. You just got to think of stuff like that. Like, if you're a guy like Earl Spence, you get dropped, you still coming forward. The referee got to stop the fight. You still walking forward towards Terence Crawford. Hey, that's a badge of honor in my eyes. That's how I was looking at it. I'm like, hey, I ain't seen nobody walk down Terence Crawford. Okay. Now when you see Canelo not able to walk down Terence Crawford, that's when you realize, oh yeah, Earl Spence, he really did something that even if you lose, you're not gonna be able to do it against Terence Crawford. Yeah, Canelo started pulling out that jab. I told you, Jay, man, he pulled out that jab so fast. Canelo was like, man, this body work ain't working. I said, oh, Canelo want to be a boxer now. I ain't seen Canelo move like that since the Triple G fight. But one thing I will say, though, that bothers me. The way that Canelo was moving against Shane Mosley, I haven't seen him move like that since. And against Danny Jacobs, but more so, yeah, against Danny Jacobs, too. I haven't seen him move like that since. I know it's hard to move that way when you get older, but to just completely stop moving like that, he was doing it a little bit in the Crawford fight, but the way he was moving against those guys, that made me look at him like, bro, was you good around that time? Like, because you know when you hear the history about him and the meat and everything, you would think about, okay, this guy has some crazy power. But then I'm looking at the speed he had when he was moving around and dodging punches. I'm like, that's not normal. I don't know. Canelo looked like a super defensive guy around that time. That was stuff like Floyd would be doing. His reaction was just crazy. Sometimes he was dodging punches by the time the guy even looked like he was gonna throw a punch. So I don't know what kind of box we have now, but Yeah, he's completely different all the way around. Yeah, Earl fought him like a man. That's what people do not realize. Earl Spence fought him like a man. And a lot of people are not going to be able to fight Terence Crawford like that. That's why I still have Earl Spence high on my list against most fighters because it's not a lot of people walking forward against him. Just being honest. I thought Majumov was going forward against Terence Crawford, but then before the fight was even over, I think that same night, I was like, man, this dude Majumov, he was clinching like 100 times against Terence Crawford. That also lets you know that Majumov was stronger too, because he was able to clinch Terence Crawford, but Canelo couldn't. Yeah, that lets you know that Majumov guy was strong. Like he was clinching Terence Crawford over and over. Canelo tried it like 2 or 3 times. He never could get it done. And Canelo a strong guy, very strong guy. He was hitting Williams Skull with some shots. J-Man said that even he didn't dominate Jacobs. He let off the gas late round like an idiot. Yeah, that Jacobs fight was weird to me. Bro, that fight was weird. He was moving so much against Danny Jacobs. I felt like Triple G, I still feel like this. I felt like Triple G did more than what Canelo did, but I felt like it was still a close fight with Triple G. But I'm saying I was like, man, Triple G did more against Jacobs than Canelo did. Yeah, Triple G definitely did more against Jacobs. Against Jacobs, he let off the gas. He wasn't trying to let them hands go. He kind of did the same thing, J-Man, what he did in the Crawford fight. He seen how much that power was from Danny Jacobs. And Canelo was like, oh, let me get out the way. Like he really, that lets you know right there, Danny Jacobs had real power. I saw that fight recently. I was like, man, Canelo was not trying to get hit by this dude. I'm still surprised he fought him the way that he was getting out the way of the punches. I said, man, he's not trying to get hit by Danny Jacobs. But yeah, after what Danny Jacobs did to Kid Chocolate, he was like, yeah, I'm not trying to take these big shots, which was smart. Yeah, I thought Danny Jacobs fought them to a draw. I thought they was to a draw. I thought that Triple G did better at the time, even though he got dropped. I thought Triple G possibly lost. But the way Canelo fought Danny Jacobs, it wasn't the same way Triple G did. Canelo was scoring, but he wasn't scoring like Triple G was. Yeah, I wanted to see Charlo fight Jacobs so bad, man. Man, that was the only fight. I wanted to see that fight more than I wanted to see Andre fight. Especially after they crossed paths and him and Jamal was talking trash. Man, they should have made that fight. That was a big fight, man. That's why Caleb Plant was saying recently, it was a lot of fights before Turkey Al Sheik came around that did not happen. It was a lot of fights with Charlo that didn't happen. But by the time Danny Jacobs went to the zone with Eddie Hearn, it was over with already. I think that's what messed everything up because right when that situation happened, when Danny Jacobs was like, I'm getting M's, that's when he was already at the zone by then. I think he had just signed his deal or whatever. He was like, I'm getting M's. Charlo like, I'm gonna be there. Yeah, that dude Charlo was with, I don't know who that light skinned dude was, but man, only thing I was saying was, bro, you cannot have that guy around a whole bunch of people. Anybody else would have knocked that dude out. I was like, who is this little guy bucking on Danny Jacobs about to get beat up? Jacobs would have put that dude in the hospital. But yeah, that was a good fight. I don't know why they do that with a Jamal Charlo all the time. But every time you get a good opponent, like Caleb Plant, Jacobs, they don't make the fight, man. They do not make the fight. I know you got some stuff going on now, but man, they got to make the fight with that. When stuff like that happens, you gotta have that guy fight Danny Jacobs. Because really, when I look at Danny Jacobs' resume, I didn't like the rest of those fights. Like the Gabe Rosado fight he had, man, that was the worst fight I ever seen. That fight was so boring. But yeah, they had Jacobs fights, weird fights, man. He fought Chavez Jr., Gabe Rosado. Yeah, it wasn't much going on. But yeah, he was getting it for a minute though. Yeah, they fumbled so many fights, bro. So many. So many. Then I don't even know if Charlo's still gonna fight. I don't think Charlo gonna fight that Baccarat guy. As far as Jamal, I don't know what he's gonna do as far as staying at 68 or 60. But I don't think Jamel Charlo gonna fight Baccarat though. He was supposed to, but from what I've heard, PBC be making a lot of changes. That's what I heard. Like Keith Thurman saying that he was supposed to beat Pacquiao and fight Earl Spence. Ever since I heard that, I said, man, these dudes be having all kind of stuff going on. Yeah, his whole career. Then talking about I was a warrior, getting beat up every fight. Yeah, that dude said I'm a warrior. Get laid down every fight. Then people talking about he was a warrior. Man, stop it. Yeah, that was definitely one of the worst fights I seen Danny in though. But yeah, they had so many fights that was fumbling around them. Like the Herd fight. But I think a lot of that too probably came from just the PVC situation. Then you had Canelo moving around. You had Canelo moving around, franchise belts. Like even with the twins still being in the picture, everybody's story has Canelo included. Like even Crawford, Andre Ward, Charlo, all them guys, including Canelo and everything. They didn't get a lot of fights because Canelo was right there. Yeah, it was a lot of fights that didn't happen because of Canelo. Like Lara, and then Jamel, he had fought Trout. We seen when that was. He fought Trout in 2018. Canelo had already fought Trout long time before that. And the crazy thing is, Jamel, he's a month older than Jamel is a month older than Canelo. Like a month and a half older than Canelo. They're the same age. This man fought Trout in 2018 and Canelo was already fighting him in 2013. So he had like a 5 year head start on all of them. That's why his resume is so good. Yeah, he had a huge head start. Yeah, once he got past Lar, it was all right after that, because he had Kodo and yeah, he just had Lar and Kodo and Golovkin to worry about. But yeah, Danny Jacobs was the toughest fight those guys had to get past at that point. Him and Triple G, they did not want to fight Danny Jacobs like that. They were waiting too because they fought Jacobs like a year after they fought Amir Khan. Well, I know that Canelo fought Jacobs 3 years later after he fought Khan. That man was scared to fight Jacobs. But Triple G had fought Jacobs in 2017 though. Yeah, around that time, Jacobs was the only one going around looking for smoke in that weight class. Yeah, I gotta give him credit for that. Yeah, even Kell Brook was moving around a little bit. But yeah, Jacobs was fighting everybody. Even when he fought Quillen and yeah, he fought Derevyanchenko. And he dropped Derevyanchenko in the first round. Yeah, it's a lot of things going on. He said Eddie kills black fighters' career, the worst promoter ever. Yeah, he's destroying them right now. I'm glad you said that too. He said recently, I'm glad you said that, J man. He said recently that he he said he wants to still sell a piece of mushroom, but I don't know. Eventually, he still could probably sell the whole company. I don't think he's in the boxing for the long haul. He was talking about how long they've been in the family business of boxing and uh his dad. He's seen what boxing did to his dad and what kind of person it turned him into. Eddie Hearn said he don't want to be an old man in boxing like his dad. He's looking going towards other things besides boxing. So whatever contract he does have with Boots Ennis, after that it's over with. It's over. And then I heard that Steven Espinoza, that was the president of Showtime, the sports situation, whatever they had going on, he was saying that like boxing right now is in a bad position because fighters can't get promoters can't build up fighters right now, like how they were doing with Shakur Stevenson and other guys they had in boxing. He said it's a hard thing that's going on because a lot of these fighters are getting built up by certain companies and they're getting signed by Turkey Al Sheikh, whether it's Benavidez or he has a fight over there with Turkey Al Sheikh and Shakur Stevenson. He was like, they're not. You can't turn down the money because nobody's going to turn down the money, but it doesn't help when you're a promoter and you're trying to build up a fighter, and he just goes over and you have people come up and sign your fighter, or they buy your fighter out, or persuade him to go in another direction. I mean, bro, y'all do that with everybody. Don't that sound crazy? So when they have fighters, I've seen companies that will get a fighter and be like, "Hey, we got a bigger fight than you than this other company." And these guys would go over there and have that big fight on that company instead of the smaller company that was going to be like not on TV, just on a live stream online. They do that all the time. So now when Turkey Al Sheik and everybody else does it, it's a problem. When they got Floyd to go to Showtime, they gave him a big deal so he can go to Showtime. They've been doing this all the time since the beginning. They get the big name fighter and bring him over. The Zone did it with Canelo and Anthony Joshua, other guys. It happens every single time. It makes everybody want to come over after that. Yeah, these people are man. These people over here, they still man. They still want promoters, man. These dudes do not know what promoters are doing. They still are fighting over promoters. We don't know if fighters is getting in the ring clean. We don't know why guys are not fighting mandatories. We don't know why fighters are ducking. But these guys talking about promoters. I'm like, bro, y'all don't understand what's going on. He said $1 billion loan. Crazy. Giving out crazy deals too. I heard some of the fights he was putting together. I'm like, nah, that's crazy. Yeah, they don't talk about Jacobs enough. Jacobs had a run. He held that era together for a while. It wasn't much going on during that time. Yeah, it was not a lot going on in boxing around that time. Danny Jacobs was holding things together. But these guys better realize, just like Oscar said yesterday, he said the undercard for Turkey put on yesterday was trash. Everybody on the internet said, I don't know what you're talking about. He thought that everybody was going to agree with him and say, yeah, the card was trash. Everybody said, Oscar, I don't know what you're talking about. That card was good. But this just goes to show, man, these guys are okay with the way that things have been going. They're okay with the way things have been going. I'm telling you. They'll complain about Canelo's doing this and he's doing that, but they the same ones that helped Canelo get a deal and brought him into boxing, brought him into big time boxing and everything. But you'll have all these guys complaining about him. I'm like, man, you can complain about a guy you made. And that's usually what happens. Yeah, they better figure out things now, though, because the way these fights are going, a lot of fans are getting used to these type of fights with Turkey Al Sheik. And it's going to be hard to go back to those old small room fights. I mean, it's still America. People will watch any fight. But it's going to be very hard to get people to tune in to just any old fight. Especially if you're trying to charge pay-per-view. Charge the pay-per-view right now is not easy. A lot of people going away from it. They already have apps, so most people pay monthly. That's what the Zone was supposed to be, but they're not doing that as much. They're trying to go back to it. For the Haney and Norman and Anthony Yard and Benavidez card, I think that's going to be free on the Zone. I think you got to pay some little monthly. And I think it's another fee on there, but I don't know. I think they have some little monthly pay-per-view fee or something. But yeah, boxing going to another direction, man. Everybody knows now. There's no more freebies in boxing. you're gonna be able to, boxing's still gonna be boxing, but there's no more time to build up fights, man. We have been literally building up fights for over 10 years in boxing. And this picture right here with Canelo and Crawford proves it. But building up fights in boxing is getting old, man. They got to start moving now. Look at all the fight possibilities that everybody thinking about now since Crawford and Canelo fought. If that would have happened 9 years ago, who knows how boxing would be right now? But they got to start moving early, though. That's the only thing I can say Turkey Al-Sheikh is doing different. That is changing the game. A lot of these fighters are getting introduced to the fan bases and fans a lot earlier than they would have 10 years ago. The guy Moses Atama, nobody would have known who he was 10 years ago at the age he is right now. If we were on HBO, most people would have seen Terence Crawford probably twice already. They would have seen him on a Spence fight, and they would have seen him on the Canelo fight. So yeah, they gotta have these big time fighters, man, in the ring a lot more. Can't have these promoters holding these guys back. But the fans are still stuck on the whole promoter thing, and they'll figure out soon that that hasn't been working. I don't know. I just think we got to do a better job of explaining to the fans that the reason why Spence and Crawford was able to get made wasn't because of what a promoter could do. You know, I think at that point that fight was already built up to where any promotional team in the world, even Dana White, would have stepped in at that point and made Earl Spence versus Terence Crawford. He was trying to make a fight with Terence Crawford before they were talking about him and Earl Spence. And that's what a lot of people don't like. They don't like a lot of guys stepping in saying, hey, because they try to make it seem like, oh, we're doing what's best for the fighter. If you're doing what's best for the fighter, there's no reason to have a contract. There's no reason to have a contract in boxing if you're going to do what's best for the fighter. Because everybody's going to get deals from any kind of place. Every place has, guys get deals from anywhere. I've seen Charlo get offered a deal from DAZN. I don't know what kind of fights that would have created, but could have had a deal over there. I don't know if it's better than what he has now, but still could have had one. But yeah, people got to realize, man, these promoters are, it's over for them. Once January 2026 comes, it's still going to be a factor, but it's not going to be like it was before. These guys are just going to be around and trying to fit into any kind of role they can, but they're changing things around right now. Everybody's trying to work together. They got a lot of fighters fighting on the same card, different promotional teams. Yeah, man, that Canelo and Crawford card is going to show a lot of change though for the next couple of months. I'm going to be back on in the morning, though, after I get some more news, man. I appreciate everybody for coming through, chilling with me on the live, man. After we get some more information, I'm going to drop some more videos tonight, but I appreciate everybody for coming through, hanging on the live, man. It was a good weekend. Appreciate everybody for hanging with me this weekend. Yeah, I'm going to be back on in the morning. I have some videos come on in the morning, too. Talking about a lot of stuff that's going to come out sooner or later, but
I appreciate everybody for hanging in, man. Appreciate it.